or arms can include pain, swelling, and skin that is warm to the touch, red, or discolored. Symptoms of blood clots in the lungs include difficulty breathing, chest pain that worsens with a deep breath, or a cough, coughing up blood, and a faster than normal or irregular heartbeat. Speak with a doctor about your risk for blood clots and seek medical attention if you have any symptoms. On average, one person in the United States dies of a blood clot every 6 minutes. Don't let that be you or someone you know. Stop the clot. Spread the word. Learn more at stoptheclot.org/spread the word.
Hello? I'm a Marine. It took me a long time to make this call.
If you or a veteran in your life is experiencing thoughts of suicide, dial 988, then press 1 to reach the Veterans Crisis Line.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our Timeshare Exit Kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how Timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free Exit Info Kit. 800-979-1441. That's 800-979-1441.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
All of us have a role to play in promoting a mental health friendly workplace. Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Your Monday midday temperatures in the 60s and continuing to climb as we head into the afternoon. Highs in the mid-70s under a mix of clouds and sun. Partly cloudy and mild overnight, upper 50s. Breezy at times Tuesday and warmer. Highs in the lower 80s. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 80 points to 45,246. This hour of the drive is brought to you by Law Tigers. Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. Case evaluations are always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers.
(72-70) Duke, 10 seconds to go. And a cut and run through the ball, and who better than this guy? Get it into Boozer, back for Sarr, ahead, Boozer, that ball deflected and stolen by Mullins. Caravan, 2 seconds, Mullins tosses it up. Oh! It's good! With point 3! UConn goes in front! Utterly impossible!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Yeah, Duke fans, you woke up today and that was still the result, wasn't it? You shot up out of bed. I had the worst dream last night. Dan Hurley, he was there.
This heat from 38 feet away. I don't know.
It was crazy. We didn't hold the ball. All we had to do was, I was screaming in my dream. You know, when you can yell and it's like no one can hear you, just hold it. Now that actually happened and you did do that. And for all intents and purposes, the ACC basketball season is over. None in the Final Four for the first time in years. I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox producing the show. This is The Drive. But hope springs eternal. New coach in the area. Huh? It's the circle of life. Continues. That is just the start of it. And you know how we start this show. It's with the Big 3 at 3.
Number 1.
Duke lost in the Elite Eight. By the way, the Big 3 at 3 is presented by Mainer Service Company. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. No matter what you're looking for, as far as repair or service or maintenance on your house, Mainer Service Company, the people to do it. Also, 4:15 today, Monday, Soundoff. And there's a lot to sound off on. New coach for NC State, still an opening for UNC at head coach, and Duke's season comes to a close. Canes had a deja vu against Montreal. Panthers head coach spoke today. A lot to get to. That's at 4:15. We'll open up the phone lines for all of your thoughts. We'll start with number one, Duke collapse versus UConn. The statistical context of it is crazy. Okay, the fact that Duke has lost so few games over the last 2 years, but they have lost them in the manner in which they have lost them is bananas. Number one seeds in the NCAA tournament were 134 and zippy, 134 and 0 when leading by at least 15 at half. It is the second largest comeback, if you're UConn, collapse, if you're looking at it from Duke's side, in Elite Eight history. 19 points. UConn's win probability had dropped down to 1.7 at one point. 1.7. And you could go on, right? And 2020 hindsight is obviously a thing. You could argue it's 2020 foresight, right? If you're coaching that game, if you are a player in that game, and you're not at the high major level, maybe you're a high schooler, middle schooler, there's 10 seconds on the clock, you have that lead. What do? You catch, you hold on to it, and you make them foul you. And for whatever reason, Duke coaching players, the crew, didn't do that, and they end up turning it over, and then credit to UConn, right? If the opposing team's going to make a bonehead play, you still have to knock down the jumper, and goodness he did. The bonehead play, at least the one that actually made it, right? We can talk about if he was put in the proper situation, if he was given the proper information, but it was Caden Boozer. And that is goodness. Anyone that's ever played a sport that they've cared about, that is hard to watch. He had 15, 5, and 6 on 80% from the field. Probably thinking he's going to be one of the heroes of the Elite Eight. Go to the Final Four with his brother. And then he makes that play, which was not the whole reason they blew the 19-point lead, but it was the cap. It was the icing on blowing the 19-point lead. And he even had the intestinal fortitude to stand up, answer questions after the game. Here's Caden Boozer on what happened at the end and the entire interaction with the media.
Obviously a lot of emotions right now, just kind of what was going through your mind in that last pass, and can you walk us through what happened?
I turned the ball over. I should have been strong with the ball. That would cost our team our season.
What did Coach Shire say before in that timeout, before you guys were inbounding the ball there?
Just that we knew that they were going to try just to be strong with the ball.
Kind of hard to hear. Obviously, there was a lot going on in that locker room. I cost the team our season. That's heavy. That's heavy. It wasn't just him. That play obviously contributed, but it wasn't just him, and you can tell he's wearing it pretty tough. We'll have more on that show, or more on that game, I should say, about 3:15. So less than 10 minutes away. We'll dive back into that and bring in the Jon Scheyer of it all. That is number one. Let's get to number two.
Number two.
Justin Gainey, the guy for NC State. The next head coach reported earlier today is when it kind of became known, although it was definitely zeroing in on Justin Gainey for a while now. Let's call it what it is. This is a hard correction from the mistakes made in hiring Will Wade. Right? Will Wade, you hired an outsider. You hired somebody with flash. You hired somebody that was going to move the needle nationally. And it didn't work, right? He had no connection. He didn't care if he messed you over. He didn't care if he used you as a stepping stone to what he really wanted. And it blew up in your face. Gainey will not do that. Gainey played for the Wolfpack from 96 to 2000. Gainey played under Herb Sendek. Gainey cares about NC State. Gainey's coached for NC State, albeit in a more operations role, administrative coordinator role, back in the mid-2000s. This is a guy that matters. This is a guy that cares. This is the anti-Will Wade. Now, is everything you did in hiring Will Wade wrong that you needed to have such a hard correction? Maybe not. But, right, there's always the but. It's comforting to know you're not going to get beaten in the same way twice. It's comforting to know you're not going to get bit in the same way twice. I'll say this 1,000 times until it happens, though. Hiring Justin Gainey is a big thing off of NC State's to-do list. Right now you know who's leading the program, but to me it adds two very, very important things to your to-do list. You need an assistant that has a bunch of head coaching experience, right? Somebody to guide him as far as the little things, right? Whether it's when to call a timeout, how to handle late game situations, things that assistant coaches just don't have the authority to do, but also how to run a program, how to assemble a coaching staff and a front office staff and everything else. So you need a head coach experience assistant. And number two is you need a assistant coach that has the offensive guru tag. Justin Gainey has a flawless reputation for defense. The way he transformed Tennessee's defense once that was put under his purview is pretty darn impressive. I can give you some stats here. Rick Barnes, the head coach at Tennessee, was head coach at Tennessee from 2015 to 2020 without Justin Gainey on his staff. 0 trips to the Elite Eight, never won the SEC tournament, middle-of-the-pack defense. Once Gainey joined him from 2021 to 2026, 3 trips to the Elite Eight, did win the SEC tournament, and had a top 10 defense every year. Right? He transformed the defense, and it led to wins. Let Justin Gainey keep doing that and bring in somebody that can help him on the offensive side, and that's a combo you're looking for. So you checked off a big thing on the to-do list. You do have 2 more things, at least, in addition to what every team has to do, right? Fundraise, recruit, all that. I think it's crucial what they do with the assistant coaching staff. And that could be the same guy, by the way. Guy with head coaching experience and is known as an offensive guru. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone and move on. That is number 2. Let's hit number 3.
Number 3.
UNC still looking for a coach. Right, I guess NC State got to the finish line first with their hire. UNC still looking. And there's a few more additional pieces of information here. It seems like they're waiting perhaps for a Tommy Lloyd, right? Tommy Lloyd coaching Arizona and doing a fantastic job doing so, by the way. If you're waiting for him, I would say wait for him with a safety net because there's a potential possibility perhaps that he wins a national championship.
Well, also, is your safety net Dusty May from Michigan? Because one of those guys is going to be in the national championship game.
Loser goes to Chapel Hill.
Right? Yeah, loser leaves town. Loser has to go to UNC.
Maybe. I just think it's fair to assume that if somebody wins a national championship, they don't at the podium say, like, it was awesome, see you in Chapel Hill, at the parade. So if you're waiting on one of them, you better, I guess, maybe like the other, or have a Billy Donovan as a backup, I don't think Billy Donovan would be cool dealing with that, or somebody else you like a lot. Because waiting for one specific person, if it doesn't work out, even if it's out of your control, you don't want to be settling for somebody you're not a fan of. The other thing is, and shout out to Brian Murphy, WRAL Sports investigative reporter, friend of the show. He had it first, as far as I know, first place I saw it. UNC is putting all discussions of relocation and new arenas and everything on pause. If you ask me, I don't think it's the money thing, because people are saying, like, oh, good, take all the money you were going to use and you use that to buy out or to get your next guy and to fund him with NIL. I think that's 2 different accounts. You know what I mean? That's 2 different, dollar figures. But what I believe it is you don't want that question at your next coach's introductory press conference. Right, especially if it's the first time in 75 years you're going outside the Carolina family. You don't want the first thing that everybody hears them say is either like, you know what, if we got to leave the Dean Dome, I'm going to support our administration, or the opposite, right? Like you want them focused on basketball. I don't think they want them walking into a very thick wicket of snags and difficult answers on something that, there isn't a right answer to, at least not yet. You want the first introductory press conference to be all sunshine and rainbows, just how much you're going to win and how you're going to do it and why you're going to work hard and why you're going to do it, why you're going to win championships and how you're going to do it. That's it. That's all you want. Not, you have some really difficult real estate conversations. Would you like to dive into the business side? Now that you've landed on the private jet, let's have the real convo. I don't think they want that, so they'll put it on pause. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Duke collapsed second year in a row. It felt like they had maybe a tournament favorite at multiple times throughout the year, yet they fall just short. That's up next right here on The Drive. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, Greg Talbot with Strategic Tax Resolution. Tax enforcement and defense strategies have changed a lot over the last year. After nearly 5 years, the IRS has restarted automated collections. You could be next for bank levies and wage garnishments. Ignoring the issue is not an option. Call 984-272-2600 to get protected. Do you have unfiled returns or tax debt? We work directly with the IRS and states so you don't have to. Let us use our proven strategies and experience with the IRS and state to resolve your tax issue. Qualified clients have cut their tax debt by more than 90%. How would that feel? Act now to learn the latest updates to tax relief programs. Your eligibility may not be the same. Strategic Tax Resolution. Local, trusted, A+ rated by the BBB. Call 984-272-2600. Ask for me, Greg Talbot. 984-272-2600. You've got a guy on your side. StrategicTaxResolution.com. Get relief.
It's bow time.
Finally, lunchtime. I'm starving.
What's that?
This is the Bojangler from Bojangles.
With the same bold flavor as their chicken?
The same.
And fries.
The same.
Huh. Well, I've got a PB&J.
Yeah, that's not the same.
A crispy fish fillet dusted in Bo's famous seasoning. With cheese and tartar sauce on a fluffy bun, the Bojangler's back. Hook one while you can. It's bow time.
There's bow time, and then there's Bojangler time. You heard right. The Bojangler fish fillet sandwich is back for limited time at participating Bojangles. A light, flaky, perfectly seasoned fish fillet with lettuce, cheese, and tartar sauce tucked inside a bun. Make it a combo and add Bojangles seasoned fries and legendary iced tea. Hungry for Bojangles but in the mood for something different? Then it's Bojangler time.
Sarr gets it into Cam Boozer. Boozer back to Sarr. Now ahead to Boozer, and UConn got a steal. Caravan for Mullins. Long three. He got it! Oh, he got it! He hit it! He hit the long three-pointer from the logo.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. All right, let's before we get to the Duke side of it, okay? Before we get to John Shire's side of it, let's do the big athlete thing, right? The sports hat tip to UConn, right? For storming back, and even if Duke plays poorly, they still had to make the shots, and even if Duke's going to be foolish and not just hold the ball, Mullins still had to knock it down from quite a long way away. So hat tip to UConn. Right? Give credit where it is due. I do not want to pretend like this was, Duke was the only team playing last night. With that being said, I still can't believe what we watched. Right? With that being said, the guy he's actually from Raleigh, right? Silas Damari. Mm-hmm. When he missed the first of that free throw, I was like, cool, Duke got it. All right, now all they got to do is inbound it, hold it, make a free throw, and at the very least, you're going to overtime. From that point forward, there were a bundle of confusing decisions, right? And maybe each individual one of them is explainable. But when you put them all together, it becomes very, very confusing, right? Things like Caleb Foster not in the game. Everybody knows veteran guards, right? The reason why you pick certain teams to be your Cinderellas is because they have veteran guards. The Duke Blue Devils had a veteran guard in Caleb Foster. They didn't have him out there. Now, individually, okay, he's a 58% free throw shooter this year. He's coming off an injury. Have him not in the game. All right, that makes sense. then you better get the ball into Isaiah Evans' hands. Why? Because he's a sophomore. He's played in some stuff, and he's your best free throw shooter, right? So if Caleb Foster isn't in there because he's a 58% free throw shooter, well, then your best free throw shooter, Isaiah Evans, who is also not a freshman, better be working to get the ball. Except he was, like 75 feet from the inbound? He was all the way into the front court?
Yeah, he was on the other side of the half-court line.
Which puts the three players in the backcourt, because Patrick Gongbo is on the other side as well, also not a good free throw shooter. Freshman Dame Sarr, freshman Cam Boozer, freshman Caden Boozer.
Mm-hmm.
You put all of those things together and you're going like, is that, you want all of the freshmen to have the ball in their hands? Which would be okay if the mandate from coming out of the inbound was simply, if I had maybe called a timeout or something and had some time, and they didn't. But if the inbound was simply grab it and hold it, right? Freshmen can't make bad decisions if you don't give them any decision to make. You catch, you hold. That's it. If that's it, yeah, it could be a freshman, could be a senior, who cares? But they caught it and started moving the ball. Which, again, individually, you could argue, well, yeah, if they just got one more pass off and the guy was open, that they could have ended the game. But then it has to be exceptionally only if it is a wide open, unbelievably easy to make pass. It can't be take a dribble, pick up your dribble, try to throw the leaning one-handed floater over two defenders coming at you. It's quite a bit of, if any of these 12 things, which were under your control, were done just a percentage different, you win the game and we're not talking about it. But because none of those 12 things, which were under your control, went to the direction of Duke, you gave UConn a chance. You gave them a chance, and then that's where the hat tipping comes in. You gotta give them a hat tip for taking advantage of that chance, but it really shouldn't have been that close. And perhaps, right, on the surface, here's the thing. Maybe John Shire learns a lesson. And it might not even be with execution at the end. Maybe it's roster management, right? Duke has been very young the past couple of years. They've been exceptionally good, but they've also been very young, and those quote-unquote freshman mistakes do tend to pop up in the absolute worst times. So maybe they do go more veteran, although, right, I'm seeing that said often and often and often and often all over social media. Although, if you remember last year in their collapse against Houston, the biggest brain freezes were Sion James, who was a guy that had played a ton of basketball and was brought in out of the transfer portal as a veteran, and he had a hard time inbounding the ball.
Yeah, he's a fifth-year senior.
So
I still think he was concussed, but that's a different conversation.
We don't want to relitigate all that,
yeah.
But that is a part of it. My point is, maybe he leans more veteran, right? Maybe he works a bit harder to convince guys to come back. Maybe they build a squad that's not so dependent on freshmen, or maybe they stick to their guns. And maybe they say, you know what, all you can do is be one of the 7 best teams in the country, and that gives you a chance to win it all. And if you just keep pounding that window, eventually you're going to break through, and the other team's going to be the one to make the mistake. That's a choice as well. Let's go to John Shire for his thoughts. Here he is trying to process the loss to UConn.
It's cannot be more disappointed and feeling for our guys at the same time of just trying to process what happened. I don't have the words. What I do know is literally this team, what each individual player went through just to play the game. I've never seen anything like it. What these guys did have to get ready, their foot injuries. He's got a black eye. He's playing the whole game. And I'm incredibly sorry for these guys that they got to go through this. This is on us. We're going to be in this together. And the year that this guy's had has been absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I don't have words other than just how proud I am of these guys and how disappointed we are.
That's probably one of the more difficult things for a coach like Jon Scheyer, which is they made it to the Elite Eight, right? They won, 35 games?
Yeah, they lost 3 games by a combined 5 points.
For most schools, I think it's a sting, right? Especially with the collapse. Don't get me wrong. You're not feeling good about it, but you're maybe more willing to just go, gosh, these guys were great. But at Duke, it really does feel like you kind of let everybody down, even though you had that kind of success because of the pedigree of players that you bring in and because of how well they played all year. It's an interesting conversation on Jon Scheyer for this reason. There's no coach in the history of coaches, and I'm sure Jon Scheyer would be a part of this. There's no coach in the history of basketball that is like writing off or making excuses for blowing a 19-point lead. There's no coach in the history of basketball that's looking at the types of leads, the double-digit leads they had a good amount into the second half and thinking, like, no, it's you got to learn some lessons. But at the same time, Scheyer is still a very, very young, very, very new head coach. And it's very, very rare for a coach to take over and win a national championship in his first 4 years. And the reason why it's difficult is because it's hard. Right? The reason why it's rare is because it's hard. I mean, we can all do the research, right? I'll tell a quick, most of you know that my dad had season tickets to the Blue Devils when he was living in the area in the 80s, right? So I heard stories of those growing up, those teams. And I just heard about these Final Four teams and these great players, right? Danny Ferry, Johnny Dawkins. Like I heard about those players. And I probably didn't know till I was like 12 or 13 that none of those guys won a national championship. Right? Johnny Dawkins and Danny Ferry were National Players of the Year. They both played for 4 years at Duke, and they won 0 national championships, made it to a bunch of Final Fours, but that was when Coach K was learning. Right? And then once the bubble burst, right, once that glass ceiling was shattered, he won back-to-back. Right? So everybody's sitting here screaming, he's had Cooper Flagg, and he's had Cam Boozer, and he's had this guy and that guy, and he hasn't won. Jon Scheyer hasn't won. Well, yeah. And Coach K had 8 years of eventual National Players of the Year and didn't win a national championship either. And by the way, I'm only comparing K and Scheyer to when they got National Player of the Year caliber players. Not their first 4 years. That's not apples to apples, right? Scheyer took over a very, very good kind of humming program from Coach K. But Coach K didn't win a tournament game at all in his first 4 years. So a little different. Granted, smaller tournament. Again, context. My point is this. Jon Scheyer is learning lessons the hard way, and part of learning lessons the hard way is being criticized the way he is today all across the college basketball world, right? That's part of, having high expectations and leveling up as a coach and not making those mistakes again or learning from them and attacking it differently. Right, so the criticism warranted, blowing that lead warranted. Right, it's gonna bring about all of the naysayers, the haters. But as long as you learn the lessons that you're learning the hard way, you take your lumps, you fix them, the future can still be bright. And I'm assuming for Duke, it can't get here soon enough next season because there's gonna be a long off season, a lot of shoulda, woulda, couldas, which is a rough way to live. We will be opening up the phone lines for a Monday Soundoff at 4:15, and I assume many of you will have takes on Scheyer, on Cam Boozer, on Caden Boozer, and the entire Duke roster. That will be at 4:15. The lines will be open for your sounding off. In the meantime, when we come back, 2 minutes of gold, where Adam Gold will give you all the breakdown of yesterday's Canes loss, a little deja vu to Montreal, and we'll get into some Dean's List action. Stick around.
Hey, this is Luke with Newcomb & Company. We're a residential, commercial, plumbing, HVAC company who's been serving the community for over 70 years. Honesty is the biggest policy around here. You know, we take pride in everything we do, anything we touch. We're not one of those companies that come and throw it in and then you can't get a hold of them again. We're there with you hand in hand. Here at Newcomb & Company, what stands apart from other companies is we actually do more than just AC and heat pumps. We do boilers, geothermals, furnaces, radiant floor, anything that is odds and ends that nobody else can touch is what we thrive on. At Newcomb & Company, we do same-day service. That's also another thing that helps us stand apart from other places is we do same-day service because we have enough professionals to get out to these houses to solve what the problems are. And we're on 24/7 on emergency basis, weekends, nights, holidays, you name it, we're there.
Newcomb & Company, your Carrier factory authorized dealer. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here from my friends at Buffalo Brothers. It's the best time of the year for college basketball, and Buffalo Brothers is a slam dunk. Best place in the Triangle to watch all the big games. They always have great drink specials, and check this out. Every Monday, half-price wings all day. That's half-price wings all day Monday. Dine in only. Now that's a deal, baby. Check out any of their 5 Triangle locations or online at buffbrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
This is Ray Womble Jr. from J.E. Womble & Sons in Lillington. Spring is here and lawn mowing will be in full force. Our new lineup of Bobcat zero-turn mowers are bringing tough to turf, built to give you a professional edge, engineered to last longer and work harder. Come check out the Bobcat ZT2000 series at a discount of $1,200 with 0% financing. And remember, if J.E. Woman & Sons doesn't have it, you don't need it.
Pros, just because something on the job runs out doesn't mean you have to. Order it on the Lowe's app. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members get free same-day delivery on eligible orders over $25. Get the fasteners, hardware, or tools you need to keep the job moving. Order by 2 p.m. and get eligible in-stock items delivered right to your job site by 8 p.m. Members get more at Lowe's. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Subject to availability. Restrictions and terms at lowes.com/shipping terms. Subject to change.
I was ordering food for the office from the same few places for too long.
For workplaces suffering with office food fatigue, every day's a struggle.
Before starting Easy Cater, I assumed having no good vegan options for Carl in finance was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat OFF with a huge variety of favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Used daily, one platform lets you save time and shine. Ask your app store about Easy Cater or start an order at easycater.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. The Carolina Hurricanes had an eventful weekend. 5-2 win against New Jersey. That was on Saturday. Montreal the next night. Took a 1-0 lead, ended up losing 3-1. Bussey was in net for the win against New Jersey. Anderson in net for the loss to Montreal. And there's actually much, much more to get to. And for that, we go to Adam Gold, who is going to give you 2 minutes of gold, our very own Adam Gold from here at 99.9 The Fan, who's going to give you 2 minutes of gold all about the Montreal loss.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I've got 2 minutes for 2 points that Carolina did not get in a game they probably should. And it's all brought to us by Parkway Sleep Health Centers, parkwaysleep.com. As I am watching Carolina pepper Montreal's goaltender Jakub Dobiš with shot after shot, high danger chance after high danger chance, all I could think of was an episode of Seinfeld.
Look, Jerry, I'm sorry. You have insurance, right, buddy? No. How can you not have insurance?
Because I spent my money on the Klapko D29. It's the most impenetrable lock on the market today. It has only one design flaw. The door must be closed!
Look, you can get all the chances you want, and there were plenty. Jarvis, Blake, Hall, Stahl, Stankoven. Everybody had chances. Aho and Svechnikov each hit the crossbar in the third period. You know how you win a hockey game? When you score. One goal ain't enough. It never will be. Not in a big game against a great team. Carolina played great, but you gotta score. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep, sound health, sound off. Where's my marble rye?
Little Seinfeld injection into the sports conversation there. Seinfeld fans, enjoy. That was, by the way, 2 minutes of gold with Adam Gold. More about the Canes weekend that just finished up. We will have, for Canes fans, phone lines open for fans of any sport.
Yeah.
We will have the phone lines open at 4:15 for a Monday Soundoff, so bring your thoughts there if you want to hear them here on the radio and you want us to have a little conversation. We'll give you the number, Heaster Automotive Group hotline, and we'll let you know when that's all opened up in about 45 minutes. In the meantime, let's hit the Dean's List. The Dean's List here on The Drive, highlighting those in the college sports world that deserve a little extra praise. This is a bit stale because we didn't have a show between the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8, but Duke women's basketball and Ashland Jackson. Game winner in the Sweet 16 to punch their ticket to the Elite 8 is pretty darn cool. They beat LSU. And do you know what's even cooler about that win in the Sweet 16? And I know they went on to lose to UCLA, so like I said, it's a little stale. You know what's cool about Duke's women's win against LSU? Back in early December, Duke women's basketball, they were dealing with some injuries early on, but they lost to LSU to drop to 3-6 on the year. Duke was 3-6. They stormed back on their season, and on, I think it was Friday, beat that very same LSU team to reach the Elite 8. They were the first team in women's basketball to make the Elite 8 after being 3 or more games under 500 at any point in that season. No other women's team has ever made the Elite 8 after being 3 or more games below 500. Duke did. Now, that's as far as they made it, so congratulations, but, already you did lose to the number 1 seed, UCLA, with a spot to the Final Four on the line. More Dean's List, and this is where we bring it around the other direction. Duke haters, I guess, make the Dean's List because they just had that feeding frenzy going on. I don't know if you saw this, Dennis. Did you see the article on The Athletic? It was like 4 or 5 days ago. It was titled, I have it written down here, Is Hating Duke Basketball Falling Out of Style?
Yeah, I did see that.
I can tell you, based on the celebrations across college basketball when that UConn shot went in, nope, still very much in style. People still really, really love hating on Duke, which when you go to Duke or you take a job at Duke, you're aware of the situation. John Shire knows if he makes a goofy face after UConn hits the shot, it's going to be memed. It's part of being at Duke. And goodness gracious, did the Duke haters have a field day. And continue to have a field day.
There's not a lot of indifference when it comes to Duke. Either you like them, love them, or you despise them.
Yep. So
it's complete opposites.
So the answer to that question, which was the article on The Athletic, is hating Duke basketball falling out of style? Nope. No, it is not.
If anything, it open up the doors again for people.
I agree with that. Do you have any Dean's Listers you'd like to throw out here?
Yeah, I'm going to throw in just college basketball. Just the games that we got to see in the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. Just absolutely outstanding games. I know Duke lost yesterday, but that game was outstanding. The St. John's game was an outstanding game. And because of that St. John's game, I'm also going to throw Caleb Foster onto the Dean's List for that St. John's game as well. The fact that he came back and played after surgery for less than 3 weeks prior, and what he did in the second half to bring Duke back from their 10-point deficit. Caleb Foster, man. Dean's List for that performance. For real.
Absolutely. More Dean's List. How about former college basketball players and their alma maters? If you you can include Shire or not, because I know he's a little bit longer tenure than these other guys in the ACC. But if you include Justin Gainey of NC State, former NC State guard, Luke Laux from Florida State, another former player, wing guard for Florida State, now the head coach. Jerry McNamara, former point guard for Syracuse, former player, national champion, now the head coach. Seems like, if you played college basketball at a school that needs a head coach, your chances are pretty good. There's not that many alumni, right? Particularly if you were seen as like a smart, heady guard, and maybe you're on some like assists lists or something, you're going to have a good chance.
You got to think is you have Locks at Florida State, Scheider at Duke, Gainey, which hasn't officially been announced, but assuming Gainey comes in to be the NC State coach, Jerry McNamara at Syria. That's 4 coaches in the ACC that were former players that I could think of off the top of my head that were former players at their school that they're coaching.
Yeah.
And obviously Hubert was.
Hubert, yep. But like I guess some of them, Shire, a lot of them aren't even doing like the assistant at the alma mater thing, or they're going elsewhere and being a head coach and coming back, something like Jerry McNamara. But it's I think a good trend. It's an interesting trend. We'll see how it plays out for him. But I think it's a good trend. I'll leave it at that. Last one here. Transition to football time, right?
We're there?
Yeah, why not? Triangle football players today, ESPN's Matt Miller put out a 7-round mock draft. 3rd rounder, offensive lineman Duke, Brian Parker, goes to the Packers. 4th rounder, NC State tight end Justin Joly to the Broncos on their first 7-round mock draft on ESPN. Duke cornerback Chandler Rivers, 5th rounder to the Giants. Carolina cornerback Marcus Allen, 5th rounder to the Chiefs.
Where do they have Jolie going?
They have him 4th round, 111th pick to the Broncos.
4th round? Okay. I feel that's a solid spot for him.
Yeah, Brian Parker, I was hoping would go a little early just so, we get a firm day 2 pick from the area.
Yeah.
He's flirting with day 2, day 3, according to this mock draft. Not that that's like, end all be all. Brandon Cleveland from State, 6th round to the Patriots. Duke edge Vincent Anthony Jr., 7th round to the Rams. And they have with the second to last pick, so like Mr. Irrelevant runner-up, Carolina cornerback Thaddeus Dixon to the Broncos.
There you go.
So, and it's not a triangle player, but Damon Claiborne, 5th round running back to the Cardinals.
Okay.
From Wake. So they're in the busy day, end of day 2 and all of day 3, according to this mock. I think we all want 1st rounders and 2nd rounders, but better to be drafted and be in the mix than not at all. Just setting some expectations as we dive into some football stuff coming up with the draft not too far away. The NFL draft, that is. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Maynard Service Company, as we dismiss the Dean's List. Maynard Service Company, we are firmly in this part of the year in Carolina, right? Open the windows, shut the windows, run the air conditioning, turn the fire on. It's hot, it's cold, it's raining, it's this, it's that, which means you are going to be turning on your air conditioner, turning off your air conditioner, turning on your heater, turning off your heater. There's going to be rain, and it's going to be coming sideways, and you want to make sure you know that the leak, if there is one, is not coming from the pipes. It's coming from outside, so you know to fix your windows. Maynard Service Company can take care of it all, right? Let them be the experts, and you can get back to just turning on your air conditioner and knowing you're going to be cooled down. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical work, all of it covered by Maynard Service Company, and the entire triangle covered by Maynard Service Company. That's the entirety of Wake County and 50 miles in any direction. So give them a call to set up a maintenance schedule, get something looked at if you think it needs to be running more efficiently, and obviously if there's one of those emergencies, right? Plumbing breaks and you got a full party at your house. You need to be able to use that toilet. Call Maynard Service Company, 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993. Or you can always visit them online, maynardservices.com, MAYNOR services.com. We have winners and losers coming up next. Should be a fun one. Stick around.
This spring, visit Atlantic Spas and Billiards and make health and wellness a priority. I'm Victoria Vodnecker, and you need to go see the store with a huge selection of hot spring spas, the nation's #1 selling hot tub. Or try the Tilo saunas, infrared or traditional, the ultimate wellness hack. And Atlantic Spas and Billiards has Raleigh's only full-service game room showroom with both new and vintage pool tables, foosballs, shuffleboards, and so much more. Inventory discounts are going on now. Atlantic Spas and Billiards on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh, Monday through Saturday. Visit AtlanticSBNC.com.
It's time for the Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month. Hello, Creighton Blackwell here from Coastal Credit Union and 99.9 The Fan. Today, we are at Millbrook Magnet High School, where we're here to celebrate the next Scholar Athlete of the Month, Jordan Davis.
The thing that stands out most about Jordan is her drive and her determination. She leads by example. She always pushes herself, which helps push our other athletes to also push themselves further.
She definitely is very humble about what she does because she's good at it.
Looking at what's best for the team, even if it affects her in a negative way, and it affects the team in a positive way, that's what she's focused on.
Jordan's a great player on the field. She's always very motivated. She cares a lot about the sport and a lot about us as players, and she really cares about us as friends. She's always trying to motivate us and make us happier and better players because she knows that if we're happy and in the right headspace that we'll all play better as a team.
It really meant a lot to hear other people saw the hard work that I was doing and all the work in the school and in the classroom. It really helps that I love playing soccer, I love running, and I also love the people I do it with.
Congratulations, Jordan.
For over 20 years, 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union have been recognizing scholar athletes at Triangle area schools. If you'd like to nominate a high school athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326. That's AWARD to 919-860-5326.
Hey, girls, what's going on?
We're just mapping out our entertainment to-do list, and we are ready. Okay, here we go. First on the list, House of Hops. Love the place. So relaxing. Variety of food trucks and a new selection of those THC drinks I'm digging on. Oh, and you know I'm a wine drinker, and their wine list is only matched by their huge craft beer selection. Oh, I can't wait. Excellent. Who's next? Well, we gotta eat, right? So zip by Che Empanadas. Scrumptious Argentinian delicacies. Can't go wrong there. That's the one by Sharky's, right? Scrumptious indeed. Eat there all the time. Hey, don't forget Salt and Lime. You know the one by the Raleigh Grand. Girl, Margarita Mondays and Taco Tuesdays? That's where you'll find me.
You girls do have it mapped out. Che Empanadas, the House of Hops and Salt and Lime Cabo Grill. All outstandingly scrumptious. Off Glenwood, Grove Barton, and Durley Road.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. A few things. One, phone lines will be open at 4:15. We are a half hour away from a Monday Soundoff where you can voice all your opinions. You can rub it in whoever's face you want to rub it in if it is worthy and deserved. But also there is a poll on our YouTube live stream right now. Dennis, why don't you go ahead and explain what they can vote on?
So the question is on the poll, because obviously there's new coaches coming in at NC State as well as UNC. Which school is most likely to win a national title in men's basketball in the next decade? Talking about schools here in the Triangle. Duke, Carolina, or NC State. Right now, Duke early voting leads 55% of those votes.
Yeah, I mean, asking that question today is interesting because I think there's going to be a lot of super negativity. Duke's never going to win the big one ever. They're never going to win a big game ever. When, it's like, well, they reached the big games a bit more often.
I think they're the only school to reach 3 straight Elite Eights this year? Or like
Tennessee also did, ironically.
That's right, Tennessee.
And they've lost them all. And their assistant coach just left.
Yeah.
To join NC State, so maybe he's bringing some of that. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. You can vote for that on our YouTube live stream. 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. All we ask is that you subscribe while you are there. And now, we ask that you stick around and listen to some winners and losers.
This team will never lose again.
Winners and losers, more vibes than scoreboard, right? That's kind of always how I describe it because anybody can just look up a box score and say this team won. It takes a real winners and losers aficionado to judge aura. So let's start with a winner. Winner, as much as I hate to say it, the Big Ten.
Yeah.
They have 2 of the 4 teams in the Final Four. They have 3 of the last 3 football champions. They they've got some cash up there and they're spending it well, is kind of how I'm looking at the Big Ten. And that is who the ACC, heck, even the SEC, are chasing right now. Interesting.
Still haven't won a national championship since 2000, though.
In basketball.
Illinois
and Michigan doing their best.
What if they both lose in the Final Four?
I was going to say, they could both play each other or they could both be out.
Right.
If they both lose, then it's, what, Arizona versus UConn?
Yeah, which would be a heck of a Final Four.
There's really not a bad matchup. I really like Illinois. I had them in my Final Four on my bracket. Matter of fact, let's get this out of the way. Loser, my bracket.
Likewise.
I'm going to be that guy real quick. Give me 30 seconds, okay? I still think my bracket's pretty good. It's fried and no good. I still think it's good.
Okay.
My Final Four was Arizona, Illinois, which is a tough pull, Duke, which they were up 19.
Yeah.
And Iowa State, whose best player got hurt in the first game, and they still made it to whatever the Sweet 16, Elite Eight, however far they made it. I still think it was good. Just the madness got me. So, yes, my bracket is a loser, which is why I want to be clear. Everything I just said doesn't really matter, and thank you for indulging me on that. But I still don't think it was that bad, which is famous last words for somebody whose bracket was that bad. Dennis, do you have some winners and losers you'd like to throw out here?
I do. Loser, 19-point leads in the triangle.
Sheesh.
I had to. I had to do that one. But 19-point leads in the triangle, bad look all around. So losers there for sure.
You know how they say a 2-goal lead's the worst lead in hockey?
Yeah.
A 19-point lead's the worst lead in college basketball.
Especially if you're a school from the triangle. It's called what it is. I will say, though, again, winner in this regard, the agent to whomever UNC hires, because I think the price tag's only going further and further up the more days that we move along. So, for example, if you're going for Tommy Lloyd, UNC basketball, that price tag just got higher to get Tommy Lloyd away from Arizona, the fact he's in the Final Four. You're trying to get Dusty May, that price tag at Michigan, only going to get higher. So, yeah, the winner, the agent. Because they can sit there and say, what, you want to try and pry away my coach from a team that just went to a Final Four? You saying he can't do there what he can do here? So, yeah, the agents of potential head coaching hires at UNC.
And anyone that's been mentioned for the UNC job. You're seeing like Byington from Vanderbilt getting a extension, right? The Carolina's going to get their own coach paid, whoever they hire.
Yep.
And a lot of other coaches paid as well to turn down Carolina's interest. More winners and losers. Again, as much as I hate to say it, winner Dan Hurley, UConn.
Dude.
For a few reasons. One, his team beat Duke, and he's going to a Final Four. And his record in, Elite Eight, Sweet 16s, and Final Fours is unreal, right? Over the last, 3-4 years. Did you see him kind of, bump heads with the official? He is a psycho. There's still time on the clock, and he went up and, I don't want to call it a head butt, but a head nudge, like a head mush almost, to the ref. Even if you think it's they're buddies, which, by the way, that's weird. You can't be buddies with a reffing you in the NCAA tournament. But even if you're they're buddies, you can't make contact with an official and be 100% sure that they're not going to tech you up.
Yeah.
And a tech there loses you the game.
Yep.
That is a psycho move by Dan Hurley. That's the kind of stuff that when he does it, I go, oh, this isn't an act. He is a psycho. That is crazy. But then another reason, go back and watch the shot. The Mullins game winner, the shot that's going to be on, every highlight film forever and ever. Hurley was trying to call a timeout before the shot. They didn't give it to him. They could have called the timeout. They could have given him a timeout right before it left his hands. And then the shot just doesn't count, and Dan Hurley's the biggest goober on the planet if they don't pull they wouldn't, unless they hit another buzzer beater with even less time on the clock. But instead, you just put your hands back in your pockets and go, I wasn't calling anything, and game is yours.
That happened to me my sophomore year in college. So, again, playing lacrosse, my sophomore year in college, I cause a turnover, I clear the ball upfield, and I actually work around. I was a defenseman. So I actually work around one of their defensemen, and he's going for a stick check on me. And he actually lands it on my hands, but I was able to still hold on to the ball. So I'm releasing a shot, and I sting one, like bar down. Timeout. My coach had called timeout as I was taking the shot.
It.
They did. Right as I'm ripped, as the shot's getting let go, whistle blows. My coach's like, "No, I didn't call it." He's like, "Nope, you did." So I had a goal taken away.
And
we turned it over in the next possession.
You just turn the volume down on the highlight film. Make sure nobody hears the whistle.
I still don't live that down to him.
Imagine if that happened in the college basketball Elite Eight to go to the Final Four. That's what could have happened, but refs didn't hear it, didn't see it, whatever it is. And Dan Hurley does not have that hanging over his head. More winners and losers. Loser. Stanford and Cal basketball.
Okay.
Andrei Stojakovic making plays for Illinois.
Yeah.
And he played for both Stanford and Cal before transferring to Illinois.
ACC legend.
ACC legend, but the transfer portal's got to stink a little bit for that particular reason, where it's like, I worked pretty hard pretty hard with him to teach him that move. At least I'm justified in knowing that it will work on a Final Four team, which is not my Final Four team. It's kind of brutal. He's not like the featured guy on Illinois either. He's getting in where he fits in, and he's still really impressive. Couple more here before we move on. How about this? Let's go another loser. Just because the one team that I still carry like a true fandom for, the Hornets are losers. Because they couldn't beat the Philadelphia 76ers, everybody. Oh, hottest team in the NBA till you run into the old Philadelphia 76ers. 10-9-8 76ers. And we beat you so bad that you got beat by the Celtics the next game as well. 2-game losing streak spurred by the Sixers. No, in actuality, NBA, you're going to lose games. They're still on a reckless heater, and they have some really, really good young players. But for right now, loser. Charlotte Hornets. Actually, we should add in. You had loser 19-point leads for triangle teams.
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of like triangle basketball had a tough week and a half.
Yeah, it did.
They all kind of fall into losers. UNC fired their coach and gave up the 19-point lead. State got betrayed by their coach. Duke collapsed in the Elite Eight, and they're supposed to be kind of the headliner that carried the flag for the ACC. So a lot of losers there, much as it stinks to say. You know what? Let's end there. It's not a fun note to end on. I usually try to end optimistically, but I think we gotta wear this one, right? We boast when things go well in the triangle. We gotta wear them just as much when things do not go well in the triangle. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. As I mentioned earlier, we can start looking towards football, at least a little bit. We always have football at 4, though, and that's coming up next. Stick around.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Stop letting high interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. It's a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity with no appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Hey, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan uses AI-driven tech to get you approved for cash out in as little as 1 day with a rate that's at a 3-year low. One client just got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out all their credit cards, started a home improvement project, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,500. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much cash you can get. No hard credit pull up front. And imagine, this time next week, you could be credit card debt-free. Loan Pronto, A+ rated by the BBB with nearly 2,800 5-star Google reviews. Call 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit. Visit NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
They score! Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Midday Monday, temperatures in the 60s so far, with highs making it into the mid-70s this afternoon under a mix of clouds and sun. Overnight, the warm-up continues, lows in the upper 50s. Breezy at times Tuesday, highs in the lower 80s. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 52 points to 45,214.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Please go to our YouTube right now, subscribe, download our app, 99.9 The Fan. Please do not go check the leaderboard on our Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge, because I'm certain I am not high enough to want you to know where I am on that leaderboard.
Oh, actually, I need to look and see where I am too. I think it's bad for both of us, Tim. I think it's bad for both of us.
I'm in, like, solidly in the top half, right? Like I'm of the big, like, overall all the brackets filled out. But I'm not as high as I'd like to be for somebody who covers the sport professionally. So please don't go check. No, I'm kidding. You can.
I'm checking right now.
Everybody out there, if you're in the mix, right, especially if you had maybe a Big Ten heavy bracket, or you're like a UConn diehard or a Duke hater, so you had UConn going, you might want to go check. You might be in line for some prizes.
Well, our guy that's in first place right now, Phil actually had 3 of the Final 4 teams. He had Arizona, he had Michigan, Illinois, and Duke was his Final 4. He had Duke winning it all over Arizona, so
it's going to be tough for him to hold that position.
It's going to be difficult.
Thank you to everybody, by the way, that participated in the Bracket Challenge. Hopefully, the Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge. Hopefully, many of you are following along and living and dying with your picks like the rest of us.
I think I'm doing pretty terrible, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, of course. We don't have to talk about that.
I'm 26. Dang.
26th?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Hey, you're 20th.
Hey,
look at that.
Either way, appreciate everybody that participated in that. And if you want to air out some grievances or reactions, whatever, to the NCAA tournament, to the way the Carolina Hurricanes are playing, to the Carolina Panthers, we will open up the phone lines in about 15 minutes for a Monday Soundoff. I'll give you the number and everything else in just a little bit. In the meantime, as you heard at the top of the segment, it is football at 4 time. And one of my favorite sayings: a smart person learns from their own mistakes. A wise person learns from the mistakes of others. So what can the Carolina Panthers learn from Duke basketball, especially in recent years, last decade or so, being unable to convert all of the immense talent that has come through Cameron Indoor into championships? What can you learn by looking at their struggles so you don't have to go through the same trials and tribulations that they do? Let's start with the most obvious. No matter how much talent you have, no matter how many superstars you have, no matter how much raw, measurable ability is on your team, situational awareness is essential. Situational awareness is a requirement. Right? If you have the best team in the league, the best team in the country, but at the end of games, down in distance isn't time, clock, one of your guys, if you're talking football, catching a first down and doing their first down celebration when everyone else is hustling to the line because you have to spike it. In basketball, if there's only 10 seconds on the clock, so you don't have to worry about a 10-second violation in the backcourt. If you know that a 5-second call doesn't exist in the backcourt, so you can just catch and hold rather than catch and pass, that's important. And if you are unaware of those things, you might act inappropriately. Situational awareness, no matter the situation, is important, right? And that's, I think you're getting both sides of it with Duke and looking at Carolina Panthers, right? The Carolina Panthers, for the most part, have fared pretty well in close games, right? That's how you end up with the Bryce Young stats, where he has 11 career wins and 9 of them were game-winning drives, right? For the most part. Not saying perfect, but for the most part, they've been above average in close games. And that kind of masks how maybe bad they've been or untalented they've been, because they win a majority or they win enough of those really close games, right? So if you play well in close games, you execute well, you are exceptional with timeouts and time management and everything else, that can mask inefficiencies. Steal some wins. If you're Duke in big, close games, particularly in March, they have not done well. And I actually think that masks how good they've been, how talented they've been. Right? You look at like Ken Pom or Torvik or any of these advanced analytics, it says that their teams have been bonkers, but they have a Final Four and an Elite Eight loss to show for it because they didn't execute well down the stretch in games that they've dominated. Right? Let me find one of these stats for you because it's I think tells the picture very, very well. Here it is. Duke has only lost 4 games since February 11th of 2025. That's versus UConn, most recently, UNC, Texas Tech earlier this year, and Houston in last year's Final Four. They have had a double-digit lead in all 4 of those games in the second half. So to do some, phrase that a different way, they have either won or had a double-digit second-half lead in 54 straight games. 54 straight games. There's actually, earlier in the tournament, there is a token, right? There's certain sports books out there have put out a token that you can put on a bet that says if your college basketball team gets up by 10, that's a win. They register it as a win. You're good. Whether they come back and lose or not, that's a win. If that's the case, Duke is undefeated in 54 games. But they don't execute well down the stretch in some of those big games. They crumble in some of those big games. And because of that, we don't think of them as that good. We don't think of them as, one of the all-time great teams of history in the last 2 years.
So what can Dave Canales learn from this? Again, Football 4, what can they learn from this? Because we saw that he's meeting with media today with the coaches, owners meetings and all that stuff, and apparently been discussing with Brad Idzik about these situational things.
I think that's fascinating. One of the things is I want to know how their play calling impacts their play calling switch, because Brad Idzik is taking over.
Yeah.
What do you call it? The mechanisms of a late game situation, right? Because now you're adding some more communication, right? Now Dave Canales has to jump in the headset and say, hey, we're going for it on 4th down here. So you have 2 plays on 3rd down rather than when he's play calling and he can just decide, all right, we're going for it on 4th. I have 2 play calls, and you're adding another level of communication. So what you can learn there is even with the change, you better be as efficient in your late game execution. Right? I think they've been pretty good. I'm not here to say Carolina, meaning the Panthers, have been horrendous in their late game execution, but it's getting more difficult now that you're giving play calling to somebody else. Right? Because Brad Idzik is going to be going, hey, are we playing for a field goal here? Are we playing for a field goal? I need to know, are we playing for a field goal or do we need to go for 6? Are we playing for and he's got to know that before he knows whether it's, maybe a run to bleed some clock and kick the field goal, or Let's get Bryce in a position. Let's get the personnel, right? Let's get another wide receiver on the field so we can be ready to test them downfield and go after the touchdown. Dave Canales might have to decide those things much faster than he did when he was play calling. So what can they learn? It's almost like you're doing it well, but you're changing some things up. That's no excuse not to do it well because we just saw how important it is for Duke, right? You could be the like 80s Niners with all that talent, right? You can be the Chiefs of the best, most talented. If you're not executing well down the stretch, you're going to lose games, right? You could have Josh Allen playing like a superhero. If you leave 13 seconds on the clock, you're going to lose, just like Duke could have Cameron Boozer playing like a superhero, and if you give the ball to UConn with 6 seconds left on a scramble play, they're going to knock down the shot and beat you. And actually, if you're now flipping it, right, I wonder if Duke can't maybe learn a little something there, right? With Canales giving up play calling to Idzik, is there a world where you have a assistant who's taking more ownership of end-of-game situations to where John is so worried about, Shire is so worried about the big, I got to have my team ready to play, the first 39 minutes. Maybe there's someone in his ear going, call the timeout, bang the timeout, right after the made free throw, right? Let's get everybody to the sideline. Let's make sure everybody knows what they're doing, catch and hold. Or as soon as you see Cameron Boozer catch it and look a little unsteady and pass it back to Dame Sarr, boom, you're banging the timeout because that guy's in your ear. Or maybe even beyond that, right? There's someone's going, put Caleb Foster in, right? And they're kind of owning the last minute in a similar way to kind of reverse, right? Dave Canales now can be more big picture, more time management because someone else has taken over the play call. Like maybe it takes somebody full-time just those decisions, and then John Shire can focus on the bigger stuff.
And I think also as well, you look at Canales, the fact that they played in a playoff game last year. First time for him as a head coach to be in that situation. All right, well, what did you learn from a defensive standpoint, just allowing the Rams to march right down the field? How can you change your approach defensively? Can you not play soft zone, please? Like those kinds of things. Like those are all stuff you got to learn. Like how do you handle these situations when it really does matter? It's one thing if it's a Tuesday night against Louisville and it's January, but it's different when it's March.
It is. I do think you want to, I don't know, like the Tuesday nights against Louisville, and that's just an example, right? Yeah. I don't care if you're playing bad and it's a Wednesday against Boston College and they take you to the wire. Like you need those games to almost like not, a loss doesn't kill you. The stakes will never be as high.
Yeah.
But to run kind of a dress rehearsal on those types of things, right? Hey, why did no one suggest to me? Why was no one tapping me on the shoulder saying timeout? Like you need to dissect every single close game, even ones you win, for things you could have done better. Right, we've talked a lot about how the Carolina Panthers have executed down the stretch, and Bryce gets these game-winning drives, and it turns out like, well, they got a turnover on their own side. They ran the ball twice and kicked a field goal, and Bryce gets the game-winning drive. Even those should be dissected for, is there a way we could have done it better? Is there a way that field goal could have been closer? Is there a way we could have run more time off the clock? Is there a way we could have done whatever? Right? You don't want to need to require a collapse in the Elite Eight to look at all of your what do they call it? Order of operations. That's not it. MOs, whatever they call them. That's going to annoy me. There's something in business where it's like something of operations.
Standard operating procedures?
That's it. Standard
SOPs?
operating. That's exactly what it is. Was escaping me. Like you want to have your standing operating procedures not only always being updated, but always being evaluated. All right, was that good enough? Do we need to change our SOPs? Do we need something else here? Do we need somebody else paying attention? Maybe somebody could have helped out John Shire a little bit. And then, we're having completely different conversations today, and we're talking about how they match up in the Final Four. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We will open up the phone lines for a little Monday Soundoff where we can hear your reactions to the end-of-game situation for Duke and anything else going on in sports. But first, here's Dennis Cox.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here real quick from my friends over at Law Tigers. I got to thank everyone that entered in for their chance to win that Canes Ducati motorcycle that the Law Tigers once again teamed up with your Carolina Hurricanes to give one lucky Caniac a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle, again, courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. Thanks to everyone that entered in. By the way, that winner will be announced this Saturday at the game, April 4th, live on the ice. So if you're there at the game, make sure you pay attention because someone is walking away with a brand new Ducati motorcycle. Beautiful Ducati motorcycle. Custom Canes Ducati motorcycle. So thanks for everyone that entered in. By the way, the weather, the way it's turning right now, it's motorcycle riding season. You're going to see a lot of motorcycles out there on the road. And folks, just like myself as a motorcycle rider, make sure you're safe out there on the road. Make sure if you haven't ridden in a while because of the weather, make sure you take the bike around the block a little bit. Get used to the feel of the bike once again before you start ripping out on the highway. So again, make sure you're safe when you're out there on the roads. If you're injured in a motorcycle accident, call Law Tigers, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. Your case evaluation's always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan wants to hear from you. Justin Gainey, next head coach of NC State. Carolina still looking for their next head coach. Duke still looking for a national championship under John Shire after collapsing in the Elite Eight. Carolina Hurricanes lost to Montreal yesterday, beat New Jersey earlier in the weekend. And the Carolina Panthers are nearing the draft. And anything else that you want to talk about. Heister Automotive Group hotline is open, 919-860-5326. 919-860-5326. It's a Monday sound off. We want to hear from you. Call in now. If you don't get through, keep calling. The lines will open up. Again, the number, 919-860-5326. Monday sound off next.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here from my good friend.
Hey, it's Adam Golden. As the Carolina Hurricanes shoot for their 8th consecutive playoff appearance, that's right, 8 in a row. That's not the goal, I should remind you. The goal is being, as Rod Brindamore likes to say, the last team standing. What do they need? Who will get them there? You know where you can find the answers on every episode of the Canes Corner podcast, live on YouTube after games, and wherever you get your podcast. Rate, subscribe, like, share, tell your friends.
Soundstation and Security, your automotive and audio experts. Car audio, car video, home theater, wheels and tires, and so much more. Plus, did you know Soundstation and Security offers full service for your vehicle? Alignments, inspection, oil changes, window tinting, and custom exhaust. And with a variety of financing options, Soundstation and Security can help you get what you need today. 2 locations, downtown Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. Soundstation and Security. Visit myhotsound.com.
Is your heating and air system ready for the warmer weather? Call Newcomb & Company to ensure your system is running at peak performance. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs. Newcomb & Company, your Carrier Factory Authorized dealer, has proudly served our community for more than 70 years, delivering reliable comfort and peace of mind. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company. Your comfort is our business.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our Timeshare Exit Kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how Timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free Exit Info Kit. 800-979-1441. That's 800-979-1441.
This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. We have opened up the phone lines. Heister Automotive Group hotline for a Monday sound off where you can voice your opinion, give us your takes, ask your questions, hit your debates. on whatever you want in the sports world. 919-860-5326. We start with Liam and Carey, who wants to sound off on Duke. Liam, welcome to the show. Happy to hear from you. Go ahead and sound off.
Hey, I just wanted to say that I think Duke lost the game because I think Caden Boozer forgot that he could have just held the ball and or else he could have. I think he just wanted to get the ball ahead for a quick 2-pointer so that the team wouldn't have to worry about shooting free throws, because I think everyone was not, except for maybe Isaiah Evans, was feeling kind of nervous about shooting free throws.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
And also,
go ahead.
What? Oh, and also, I think I felt like the second they turned the ball over, I knew UConn was going to make the shot. I just knew it.
Mm-hmm. All right, Liam. Thank you very much for the call. I want to talk about the he didn't want to shoot free throws portion of Liam's point. You have to put in everybody that wants to take free throws. Like, they should be excited to take free throws. As soon as somebody catches a pass in that situation, they should be sitting there thinking, foul me. I can't wait to knock down 2 free throws and seal this and send us to the Final Four. If you have players on the floor that aren't that type of player, call a timeout and substitute in the ones that are. Or have Isaiah Evans, who is your best free throw shooter, barreling towards the inbounder to grab the ball because he does want to make those free throws, right? If part of the panic was because the guys that had the ball didn't want to shoot free throws, didn't want to be fouled, those are the wrong guys to have the ball in that situation. A lot to learn in that one. Let's go back to the call-in line. Heister Automotive Group hotline. Isaiah in Wake Forest wants to sound off on a couple of basketball teams. Isaiah, welcome to the show. Go ahead and sound off. Isaiah, can you hear me? One more time. Isaiah, you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you now. Go ahead.
Okay. To build on Liam's point, I mean, Duke should never have been in that situation in the first place. You're up by 19. You should just seal it. I think Duke kind of got a little too big for their britches, and they're like, all right, we got this game. We are the number 1 seed after all. Kind of slacked off and forgot that UConn is a really formidable opponent. And then on the other thing, I don't care if you don't want to shoot free throws, Caden Boozer. You've got to take that foul there, or you got to write the play up differently to get Isaiah Evans that ball.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't pass that ball because he was trying to pass it to Gongba, who's like a 66% free throw shooter. So if he gets fouled, you're in an even worse situation. So that's just a poor game by Duke. They did not deserve to win that game after that second half. And then really quickly on the Charlotte Hornets, not a great weekend for them.
Mm-hmm.
They should have won that 76ers game.
Oh.
And Jason Tatum and Peyton Pritchard whooped them yesterday. I mean, I felt confident. I was like, hey, maybe we can get this win. Jaylen Brown, Derek White out, and we ice cold. And the Magic lost, the Heat lost. We got to get those wins when they're losing, or we're going to get stuck at the 10 spot, which is I'm not very confident in the Hornets at that 10 spot. I'd really like to see them get up to that 7-8 spot where it's not single elimination.
All right.
Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, first of all, I mean, you can't just assume they're going to beat the Sixers. I mean, that's a behemoth. But yes, Boston did kind of let it rip a little bit, but that was in response. The Hornets caught them at the beginning of March and lit it up against the Celtics. So I think there was some payback happening there. As far as Duke being too big for their britches, I don't know if that's the case. I will say this. I think there were some threes, some very timely threes in the first half that got Duke into the idea that anytime they need a shot, they're going to knock down a three. Dame Sarr was hitting some tough ones. There were just some threes that went in the first half that in the second half I was like, yeah, that's similar to the shot you took in the first in a similar moment when UConn was on a run. You made them in the first, but I'm not sure that's the best shot to take. They were just kind of lulled into thinking that was the best shot to take, and they obviously didn't shoot as well in the second half. Wes in Raleigh is up next. Wes wants to talk about NC State, and we're happy to have him. Wes, welcome to the show. Go ahead and sound off.
All right. Yeah, I was wanting to just say that I feel like the Justin Gainey hire is just going to be tremendous. I've heard some of the fan base, I think most of the fan base is super happy with this hire, but I think the ones that are kind of questioning it, I think it's going to turn out that he ends up being able to deliver on the things that Will Wade had promised. I feel like the level of recruits he can bring in, who he's been able to recruit in the past, it's just going to amplify with an NIL budget of, $10 million plus. And I can't wait to see what he does. I feel like it's going to be a really successful time in Raleigh, and I'm just looking forward to it.
All right. I appreciate it a lot. I think, and this is no disrespect to Wes, I think Justin Gainey is still a bit of a mystery, right? When somebody hasn't been a head coach, you don't know. I know that he was very involved in Tennessee's defense, and their defense has been very good. But you're not doing the post-game pressers. You know what I mean? You're not the one executing, making plays and substitutions and timeouts down the stretch. Like, there's so much we don't know that you would hope would come up in an interview, right? That you hope they would ask about and ask philosophies and everything. So it's to me a bit of a mystery still on how good it will be. But I do know that there's going to be more loyalty. There's going to be more. There's going to be more love for the colors, right? The team colors are going to mean more to him than they ever meant to Will Wade. So, that to me is why I think a lot of people are more excited.
I think also as well as the fact that he has to learn you got to meet with the booster clubs and do all those kinds of things. You're the face of it now. It's different.
Oh yeah, very different. And you don't do as much of that as an assistant. You do some, but not. I mean, that head coach handshake goes a lot further than a assistant coach talking to. Back to the call-in line. Heister Automotive Group hotline is open for a Monday Soundoff. 919-860-5326. We go to Dez in Raleigh. Up next, wants to sound off on Carolina, meaning UNC. Dez, welcome to the show. Go ahead and take it away.
Hey, how's it going?
Going well.
I want to get your take on Tommy Lloyd. Do you really feel that Tommy Lloyd would come to Carolina? Is it real? And then the other thing is, I've been hearing Jerry Stackhouse's name floating around a lot. My opinion on Jerry Stackhouse, I think he would be good for Carolina. I really want us to, on the recruiting trail, I want us to start winning Carolina, start winning North Carolina, winning those recruits in North Carolina. I feel like we haven't done that in a very long time, and I feel like Jerry could do that. But how real do you think Tommy Lloyd, us getting Tommy Lloyd and us also reaching out and offering Jerry Stackhouse, how real do you think that is?
Okay, I'll take them one at a time, and thank you very much for the call. Starting with Tommy Lloyd, it's either real or he wants everybody to think it's real, right? He did the whole, Arizona is special and they're going to have good coaches after I leave speech. It's either he's using Carolina to get maybe more money from Arizona or more NIL or something, some kind of leverage play, or it's real. And he's intentionally kind of being a little coy to make it so he won't have lied to Arizona when he takes the job. If it were any job outside of maybe Carolina, Duke, Kentucky, and that might be it, Kansas for sure. If it were any job other than those four, I'd be going like he's not leaving Arizona for anything. But those four, there's always the chance that it's just, no, that's the dream job, and you make the move. So there's a possibility there. As far as Jerry Stackhouse goes, I actually haven't heard his name as much. Right when they first fired Hubert, he was brought up a lot because he's in the family and he had been a head coach before. Mm-hmm. I'd be very surprised if they bring him in with his head coaching record. It didn't work at the last stop. If he had, maybe gone to a mid-major or something and was winning a ton and had rehabbed his image a little bit, maybe. But Carolina, I think they're understanding they need to hit a home run here, and they don't want to be like, well, he was a seeing eye single at another school, but he'll be a home run here. I know he's a connection, but I don't see it being Stackhouse.
Yeah, in 5 seasons at Vanderbilt, he had 3 losing seasons. He only had 1 season over 20 wins, never made the NCAA tournament, had a record of 70-92. And then you see Byington come in and make a couple Sweet 16s right after that. Same location.
I will say, if you are requiring, like your brain is saying it has to be someone in the Carolina family, has to be someone that played for Roy or Dean, then Stackhouse becomes a much more attractive option just by comparison to the other options that are in that category. But if you're willing to go outside of the Carolina family, I don't think Jerry Stackhouse ends up making the semifinalist list. No disrespect to him. Obviously, great player, Carolina legend. Anytime he walks in the Dean Dome, big pop, he'll be celebrated because he's Jerry Stackhouse. Let's go back to the call-in line. Linda in Roanoke wants to sound off on the Canes. Linda, welcome back. Happy to hear from you. What do you got?
Thank you. I am so heartbroken over last night's hockey game. I drove all the way. My daughter drove me all the way.
Oh, right. You were there.
So I could see my first game, and they just didn't show up.
Well, you did see an Andrei Svechnikov goal, right? That's something, and I believe Jarvis, your player, got an assist.
Was it Svetch or was it Ehlers?
Oh gosh, they're all.
It was Svetch yesterday.
Yeah, it was Svetch. Okay, it was Svetch. But they're all bleeding together for me as well. He had 26 of them, and he just turned 26. His 26th goal of the year.
Oh, that's good.
There you go.
And I'm disappointed that you didn't come down to talk to me, but I want to give a shout out to Dennis because he was so nice.
I actually apologize. I had misplaced the day because the Duke game was on as well at the same time, so I was watching both, but I should have, and that's on me. And I'm glad you caught up with Dennis, and he represented the show.
Yes, he did, and I'm still debating on whether or not to come to a playoff game. So if I do, I will definitely have Dennis let you know.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening, and hopefully next time Jarvis can get a goal rather than an assist when you're watching.
Well, at least he didn't get shut out completely.
There you go. Grain of silver lining there is what I'm looking for. Linda, thank you very much, and we're always rooting for you and thinking of you.
It was fun. It was fun meeting Linda yesterday. So I was actually during the first intermission, I was walking down to go see Linda and her daughter Deborah down at their section where they were sitting, and walking through the concourse. And then Debbie her daughter goes, "Hey, Dennis!" So there, the two of them were right there. They were just kind of walking around the concourse themselves. So it was like perfect timing that we crossed paths in that regard. But it was awesome seeing Linda, finally meeting her in person. Her first ever Canes game in person, by the way.
There you go. I'm glad they at least didn't get completely shut out.
Yeah, I know.
Silver lining.
Yeah. But it was awesome. And absolutely, Linda, you have to come down for a playoff game.
Yep.
Absolutely you have to.
Playoff games are – every game with the Canes, in-person hockey is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Playoff games are another level. It's just a fact. Back to the call-in line. Thank you to Linda one more time. We have Joe in Raleigh who wants to sound off on NC State. Joe, welcome. Have at it.
Hey, how you doing? I enjoy listening to you.
Thank you.
I'm glad we're getting Justin to come in, and I'm having some thoughts about the staff. I think they'll keep Levi Watkins as one, but I think they ought to hire Matt McMahon as an assistant. He has head coaching experience, and he knows all the play. If we ever play LSU in the SEC, ACC, it would be great.
It's actually a good point, and thank you very much for calling in. I'll break it down in a few more ways here. So if you listened to the show earlier, Justin Gainey, I think, needs two very specific types of assistant coaches. One is a guy with head coach experience to help guide him through the trials and learning curve of being a head coach, and the other is an offensive mind because Justin Gainey, at least the reputation is he was heavily involved in Tennessee's defense, and Tennessee's defense was great. So you want to keep a lot of his bandwidth available for that. So find like an offensive coordinator on the offensive side. And that immediately, ironically, led quite a few people to McMahon, the coach at LSU that was unceremoniously discarded by LSU so Will Wade could take the job. Here's my only concern on that. They just paid him a boatload of money, and I'm not sure he's going to jump right into being an assistant. He does fit both of those categories. He could kill two birds with one stone and hire one assistant and get both roles. But I think they had to pay him like $8 or $9 million to go away, which could give him the time to wait for another head coaching job, which he's had success with, at the mid-major level. But if he's open to it, it'd be an interesting little, as the coaching carousel turns, move to go get LSU's old coach in response to Will Wade going there. Back to the call-in line. Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. Tom in Willow Spring has some sounding off to do, and we want to hear it. Tom, take it away.
Hey, yeah, I just wanted to make 2 points about the college basketball real quick. The first was that I hope, it never seems to happen, but I hope that the Big East starts to get a little more respect because, a lot of people have been clowning us for years. I heard Max for like 3 weeks every time the subject came up, it was a weak Big East and all this. Sooner or later, people are going to have to realize that just because the conference doesn't have the depth it used to, that these top teams are still really dangerous and really good teams. And then my second point was about the Carolina coaching search. I think they should go after Billy Donovan. And one of my points was that I hear a lot of people questioning, about the game changing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Billy Donovan is the type that's scared of NIL. He's not that type of coach. He's a Patino guy. He's a Northeast guy. I think he'll jump right in and turn them into a winner within a couple years. And I think Carolina should go after him. I think the only reason that they wouldn't was they would be scared that Bill Belichick backfired. But obviously Donovan's got the coaching experience in college that Bill never did. So that's the two things I wanted to get off my chest, and you guys are doing a great job with the show. Thanks for everything.
Thank you. I appreciate those kind words at the end there. My defense for any kind of negative talk about the Big East would be, well, it's just UConn and they're carrying so much, but then it's like, I don't know, do I want people to talk about the ACC? Because there's probably some. Well, it's just Duke and everybody else.
I don't know. We've seen State, Duke, Carolina, Miami all make Final Fours recently.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. Aside from some of those are getting into the rearview mirror a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like St. John's was good this year. UConn's obviously always good. Villanova at times is good, but the Big East, I mean, it's just when you compare it to what it used to be, or when you compare it to some of the other conferences, it's tough. But UConn is doing their thing, pulling everybody along. Back to the call-in line. Jeff. Oh, wait, real quick, the Billy Donovan stuff. I think Billy Donovan, there's a possibility he has a really, really good run wherever he ends up if he goes back to college. There's a difference between being afraid of NIL and being good at it, right? It's like I'm not afraid of the baseball. I'll stand in there in the batter's box and take my cuts. But if you're throwing curveballs, I'm not hitting it. Like I quit when I was 12. That was before anyone knew how to make the ball bend on the way to the plate. So I don't think he's afraid of anything, but you have to be great at it in order to make it work at a school like Carolina. Jeff in Raleigh wants to sound off on some hoops, and we're here for it. Jeff, go ahead and take it away and sound off.
Yeah, just touching on Billy Donovan. I'm a West Virginia guy, and he went from Kentucky to Marshall before he went to Florida. I think if they hire him, they need to get him a general manager, and that'll solve the NIL. I think he'd be a fine hire wherever he goes, whether it's pros or college. Secondly, the ACC teams and the way everything fell out in the tournament, get over yourself. You guys aren't above what everybody else has to do. Just forget about it. And lastly, I love NCSU's the Wolfpack pick. I would like to see them bring a Hodge type, or like you said, offensive. He's more of, I think he was a guard, but he's a local guy that would bring a lot to just bringing everything together. So that's all I've got to say. I hope you guys have a great week, great Holy Week, and stay safe.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Listen, Julius Hodge is a legend. He is in the coaching world, so he's a head coach, I believe, at Lincoln. So that's a possibility. I do think, especially early on in Justin Gainey's run, you want to make sure you're covering as many different archetypes on that sideline. And Justin Gainey, Julius Hodge, both former players, both from, I don't want to say the same era, but similar eras. Gainey there may have been a year or two between them, but they kind of, kept it rolling within the same, 8 or 9 years. If Hodge is there, I think it's an addition. But if you can use that assistant coaching slot, that job, to bring in somebody with a different skill set or a different kind of vibe, maybe that would be a better use of it. But you're not, I do think fans do this occasionally where Like we see with the Panthers, right? When people want to fire Evero, they go the defensive coordinator. They go right to like Luke Kuechly, defensive coordinator, which means you're gonna have Thomas Davis as the linebackers coach,
right?
And you're gonna and you just start. Julius Peppers is coaching the edge rushers, and it's like I get it, and I know you're nostalgic for it. You probably want some coaches on that list. The former players sprinkled in there for relatability and hey, I've been there before is great. I also think you need just some guys that grind tape and have been coaches for the last 2 decades that see the game like coaches and are better teachers rather than former players.
I mean, I can see Hodge coming in as an assistant coach.
I agree as well.
Yeah, I think it actually wouldn't be a bad hire at all.
It's just I want to make sure you're getting every different kind of coach, right? Justin Gainey can do I've done this, guys. You know what I mean? He can do that. I'm not sure you need it. Although Hodge, again, he's in the coaching world, head coach, so it's a little different.
By the way, real quick before we get to our last 3 callers that we have here, this is actually an email that dropped earlier this hour, about a half hour ago, from NC State. NC State will hold a press conference on Wednesday, April 1st at 2 p.m. in the Arena Club at Lenovo Center to introduce a new head men's basketball coach.
Look at that.
The announcement is pending NC State Board of Trustees approval.
Okay.
So, yeah, there you go. There's that.
Scheduling the presser before you have the approval, probably pretty likely you get the approval. May have done a straw poll.
Yeah, exactly. Just a group chat. All in? Yeah, cool. All right.
Little thumbs up, all the little likes, just little thumbs ups and exclamation points.
Little poll.
Dennis said it. We have 3 more callers, so let's rip through it because we're running out of time here. Hal in Fayetteville wants to sound off on NC State. Hal, welcome to the show. Go ahead and sound off.
Hey, appreciate it, Tim. Great show, man. Enjoy it. I love your take on everything.
Thank you.
2 points to make them really quick. Boo Corrigan, I want to give him credit for acting fast, swift, and not overthinking it. I think a lot of times NC State overthinks everything, and we kind of, like we did maybe with Wade, made a pretty bad decision there. But secondly, I tweeted at you the other day about, I think this has been going on a long time. I haven't heard you say, I haven't been able to listen the entire time, but I haven't heard your thoughts on, somebody said the governor was involved with this deal with Wade going down to LSU, and could NC State have action against them moving forward? Yes, we got to move on, and I think we have, so it's worthy of a discussion, I think. Your thoughts on that?
Okay, I appreciate it. You're kind of talking about like the legal situation, I guess. Listen, when politicians get involved, I think my reaction is as much like, oh, they're doing this for approval rating and they want votes, right? And wanting what's best for the local basketball team helps. From a legal standpoint, I would imagine, and this is with no insider information, that when they negotiated the buyout it was $5 million if Wade left prior to April 1st and $3 million if he left after April 1st, and they negotiated it to $4 million. I assume that negotiation came with some kind of an agreement to not pursue each other in any legal way after the execution of that buyout. So not saying Will Wade didn't do things that could be seen as, breach of contract or anything like that. Just saying State probably just wanted to move the heck on and get on to the next. And as you said, work quickly and go to the next coach and forget the Will Wade era happened entirely. I think that's probably what they want to do. All right, 2 more calls. Matt in Apex. Matthew in Apex wants to sound off on the Canes. Matthew, welcome to the show. Go ahead and sound off.
Hey, Tim, thanks for taking my call here. So, yeah, I have several thoughts. It's particularly annoying, this loss to Montreal, because of how predictable it was. And I don't buy – I'm tired of hearing the cope that, oh, well, they got their looks and they were playing great and they just couldn't bury them. This is cope. Okay, Montreal slaughtered us 3 times, each time because of their transition game. And we have to start playing above that. There's got to be some kind of adjustment when a particularly fast team like Montreal, and it's no secret, every team tries this against the Canes, where they try to turtle up, they give up chances off the forecheck to get their to take advantage of chances on the rush. And Montreal is fast enough to do that and burn us, which is what happened. And we have to be able to play above them and give up maybe, trying to forecheck and press so hard to stay above them and use our speed to counter it. And it's just really annoying that this kind of adjustment is never made. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you. I said this on Twitter, and I haven't been able to rewatch the game entirely. I was watching, but I was double watching because the Duke game was on at the same time, so my attention was a little split. And from my split attention, which, admittedly probably not the most educated in the world, I thought they were playing better in like most of the game. I thought they were kind of dominating, and it just didn't work, which is exactly what you said is cope. So Dennis, you were actually in attendance for a little bit. How much of the caller is accurate there?
I mean, the first 25, 26 minutes of the game, they were dominant. They were the better team, but I don't know. I'm not going to read too much into it.
You said there's a silver lining to Montreal winning?
Yeah, and actually, I think that's, if you want to go conspiracy theory, you let Montreal win, they move up in the Atlantic standings. That way they got to play either Buffalo or Tampa in the first round, and you probably won't even have to face them at any point in the playoffs. So anyway, Carolina did themselves a favor.
Take that. Last caller here, Reggie in Sanford wants to sound off on the tournament. Reggie, you're our last one, so end it with a bang.
Well, I want to say that's one of the reasons why March Madness is the most wonderful time of the year. I mean, you got Duke and UConn. I mean, that was a buzzer beater. Was it a week ago? It was Iowa and Florida buzzer beater. I mean, these games are very exciting to watch. And, I mean, so I'm really, shout out to the teams that are giving their all and for the tournament this year.
First of all, I appreciate you singing for us. I really liked that. And I think that's an excellent way to end Monday Sound Off. Thank you very much for calling in. How about that? Do you know what I do think is a bit of maybe a cheat code for March Madness? If you have 67 games, and I think that's how many you have in the full tournament, including first four, if you have 67 games, there's like almost guarantee like 6 of them are going to have awesome endings, just a numbers game. And then you're like, March is crazy. It's like, yeah, if you have a tournament with 500 games, there's going to be some buzzer beaters. It's just kind of the odds. But it is awesome, and I fall for it every year, fall back in love with it every single year. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I do want to talk more about the Justin Gainey hire at NC State and what we're expecting at that press conference Dennis was telling us about. But before we can get to any of that, Dennis is going to tell you something else.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for Loan Pronto. Folks, stop letting the high interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. It's a completely hassle-free way to get cash out of your home equity with no appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan uses AI-driven tech to get you approved for cash out in as little as 1 day with a rate that's at a 3-year low. One client got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours. They wiped out their credit cards, started a home improvement project, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,500. Loan Pronto now, call Loan Pronto now and see how much cash you can get. No hard credit pull up front. And just imagine, this time next week, you could be credit card debt-free. Loan Pronto, A+ rated with the BBB, and nearly 2,800 5-star Google reviews. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, looks at Justin Gainey's role in the, I don't even know if it's a rebuild, in the flushing of the Will Wade era. Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
For teams who missed the tournament or took early losses, the time to reflect ended the morning after. The business of player retention is now key for your program, and the playing field is more level than it ever was as revenue shares in place. Your coach's pitch now focuses on when do we get our next championship, because that's the only currency your fan base cares about.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hey, this is Luke with Newcomb & Company. We're a residential, commercial, plumbing, HVAC company who's been serving the community for over 70 years. Honesty is the biggest policy around here. We take pride in everything we do, anything we touch. We're not one of those companies that come and throw it in and then you can't get a hold of them again. We're there with you hand in hand. Here at Newcomb & Company, what stands apart from other companies is we actually do more than just AC and heat pumps. We do boilers, geothermals, furnaces, radiant floor, anything that is odds and ends that nobody else can touch is what we we thrive on. At Newcomb & Company, we do same-day service. That's also another thing that helps us stand apart from other places is we do same-day service because we have enough professionals to get out to these houses to solve what the problems are. And we're on 24/7 on emergency basis, weekends, nights, holidays, you name it, we're there.
Newcomb & Company, your Carrier factory authorized dealer. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
This spring, visit Atlantic Spas and Billiards and make health and wellness a priority. I'm Victoria Vodnecker, and you need to go see the store with a huge selection of hot spring spas, the nation's #1 selling hot tub. Or try the Tilo saunas, infrared or traditional, the ultimate wellness hack. And Atlantic Spas and Billiards has Raleigh's only full-service game room showroom with both new and vintage pool tables, foosball, shuffleboards, and so much more. Inventory discounts are going on now. Atlantic Spas and Billiards on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh, Monday through Saturday. Visit AtlanticSBNC.com.
Win big with a point card like the Cat Mini Excavator. Get up to $4,500 off select models during tournament season. Call Gregory Pool Cat at 919-609-7321. Mini size, major power, championship performance.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. NC State, you have your college basketball coach. Almost exactly a year after I said NC State, you have your college basketball coach. This time it's Justin Gainey taking over. Most recently an assistant for Tennessee. And I do want to play some audio for you here from Rick Barnes. Now, Rick Barnes is a guy with a interesting ACC history going back to his time with Clemson. But he is a coach that has been around college basketball for a very long time. He's won a good amount, and he's had a lot of success at Tennessee with Justin Gainey as his assistant in recent years. So here is Rick Barnes on why Justin Gainey should be the next NC State head coach. And since Barnes has made these comments, it's been reported by many different sources that Justin Gainey will be the next head coach at NC State. So here's Rick Barnes.
Well, I hope he gets that job because I don't think there's anyone in the country that loves NC State more than Justin Gainey. He's a North Carolina native. He went to NC State, played 4 years there, started 4 years, helped him win an ACC tournament. He has just incredible pride in his university and a terrific basketball coach. I mean, he highly. I mean, if you come to our walkthroughs like today or the other day, he scouted the last game. I don't say a whole lot because those guys have it, but Justin is he's got an incredible feel for the game. He really understands players. He works at it. Terrific recruiter. Understands the NIL era today. If NC State knew what I knew, they would be begging him to be their next head coach.
That's pretty glowing praise from a guy who is acknowledging that one of his top assistants would no longer be helping him win games if you listen to that advice, right? That's some real, I just want what's good for Justin guy, and an acknowledgement that, State means something to Justin, right? And I'll give you the breakdown. Justin Gainey is 49 years old. He played for NC State from 96 to 2000. That means he would have played for Herb Sendek as his head coach. When Gainey left, when he exhausted his eligibility and his NC State career was over, he was second all-time in starts among Wolfpack in history, fourth in steals, and ninth in assists. So this was a dude that not only played, not only cared, not only loved it, but produced. Then after graduating, he was on Sidney Lowe's staff from 06 to 08 at NC State. with the final year, or one additional year, being as the director of operations. Prior to that, he was an administrative coordinator. Then he joined Sendek, his coach at Santa Clara, for the 2017-18 season, spent 2 seasons with Sean Miller at Arizona before going to Marquette for 1 season, and then finally Rick Barnes in Tennessee in 2021, and he's been there ever since. That is a wide variety of experiences, right? Arizona, obviously, Tennessee, obviously, some schools with significant resources, but also schools like Santa Clara, schools like Marquette that have to get more bang for their buck in darn near every way. The playing history. You heard Rick Barnes talking about his ability to relate to players, which I think has never been more important than it is now. And at 49 years old, he's somebody who, if it works, you can plan, right? You can have some stability. This is no disrespect to Justin or anybody involved, but also he's probably a cheaper option, which gives you some cash to spend on some other things, right? I doubt there's a significant buyout of any kind. I doubt that the per year salary has to be over the top. It can be something where you might be able to spend a little bit more on assistants if you think that's the way that you can mask over some of his head coaching inexperience, or you can go more for the Jimmies and Joes and go pay players. I have a 3-part, actually I'll throw 4-part to-do list, although 1 and 2 are going to be very connected, so it might be 1A, 1B. This is what NC State still has to do, even after deciding that Justin Gainey is their guy. 1, fund his revenue share pool and fund his NIL collective additional endorsement war chest. Right? There has to be, it's a necessity that there is a buzz and good basketball next year in NC State. And one of the main ways to help that come to reality is to give him enough to go out, give him enough money to go out and make some Godfather offers. Go get your guys. Number 2 would be go out and get your guys. You have to recruit. You have to be personable. You have to get in the room. You have to talk to them about what you're building and have the players buy in. So 1A, 1B, fund the money, recruit. 2, surround him with head coaching experience. I think that's a necessity just based on the fact that he might have everything State was looking for. I believe he was in the running for the Will Wade hire when State hired him, but he didn't have the head coaching experience, and that's probably one of the few knocks on him. So surround him with somebody that can eliminate some of those worries. And 3, give him an offensive coordinator type, offensive guru type assistant that can make sure their offensive game is as high as their defensive game in production and complication and everything else. Gainey has a very strong reputation as a defensive coach. What was he, 3rd in steals, tracks, or 4th in steals when he graduated from NC State in Wolfpack history? Pretty good. 9th in assists, so it's not like he doesn't know offense, but 4th is higher than 9th. Just get him somebody that can maybe take a little bit more ownership of the offense. That's all it takes. Do those things. I think the vibes in NC State will continue to be high.
I agree with you in terms of getting someone with head coaching experience on the bench with them, whether that's even if it's a coach that's pretty good at a mid-major or lower major school that wants to move up. Hey, you're doing pretty well at a lower major school. Come here, be an assistant for a couple years. I learned from you in terms of how to be a head coach, and then we'll help you find the mid-major job or something along those lines to help propel your career. You can have it work both ways where both parties benefit in that regard.
I mean, NC State had an assistant from this past year that took the Troy job.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even a good NC State year. So that's got to be motivation for maybe a former head coach that wants to reset their rep and have an opportunity to head coach again. Maybe you take a year or 2 or 3 and you help out a major conference team, have some success, and then your name becomes a bit buzzworthy and you grab that mid-major job you're eyeing. There's a lot of possibilities there. Or you could also go find some, 67-year-old that just wants to.
Yeah.
I've been a head coach for 40 years, and I just want to take 2 years and pass along my knowledge and wisdom that I've learned the hard way.
Go get Lavelle Moten on your staff.
I
That
floated.
dude's so plugged in with everybody. Go get Lavelle Moten on your staff.
I floated that before Justin Gainey was kind of known as the guy, as Gainey with Moten on the assistant staff. If Lavelle Moten's open to it, and we don't know if he is, I think that would be an awesome hire. Awesome hire. You would, we had a caller earlier say they want Carolina to own the state in recruiting. If you have Justin Gainey and Lavelle Moten on the same staff and an appropriate NIL budget and rev share budget, I think state would do pretty darn well recruiting in this particular state that is fruitful with talent. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Quickly here, text keyword music, MUSIC, to 919-860-5326 for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Turnpike Troubadours at Red Hat Amphitheater on October 10th. If you want to see the Turnpike Troubadours, text music, that's the keyword, MUSIC, to 919-860-5326. Music, keyword, 919-860-5326, the number. We have the starting five coming up next. Stick around.
Listen for the Get That Out of Here's.
Rejection! Cameron Boozer got a piece! Get that out of there!
The deep looks from downtown.
McNeil walks up a three and connects left corner.
Did he just do that?
McNeil fires a three, got it far corner, falling down. It's a 2-point game.
The road to Indianapolis runs through 99.9 The Fan. Driven by Fast Park and Relax, Chapel Hill Tire and Roof Works.
Whether you're in school, whether it's in life, you just gotta give it everything you got, and I'm glad I was able to represent that.
The Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month from 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union. To nominate your athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
This April, the party's in Cary as Abbey Road Tavern and Grill Cary celebrates 30 years of great food, drinks, and unforgettable nights. The 3-day anniversary bash starts Friday night, April 10th, with live music and beer reps handing out freebies. Saturday the 11th is an all-day outdoor party with local bands and a draft truck pouring cold ones. Wrap it up on Sunday the 12th with a hangover party featuring Totally Otis and killer drink specials all weekend long. All happening at Abbey Road Tavern and Grill in Cary. Details at abbeyroadnc.com.
I was ordering food for the office from the same few places for too long.
For workplaces suffering with office food fatigue, every day's a struggle.
Before starting Easy Cater, I assumed having no good vegan options for Carl in finance was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat OFF with a huge variety of favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Used daily, one platform lets you save time and shine. Ask your app store about Easy Cater or start an order at easycater.com.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Kat Campbell. It's a nice evening outside. Temperatures dip into the 60s after sunset. Our low tonight only falling to 57 under mostly clear skies. Tuesday, partly cloudy with a high of 82. Wednesday, we're back in the mid-80s with an isolated storm chance.
5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 49 points today to 45,216.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Tomorrow, we will be at Durham Bulls Athletic Park for the home opener for the Durham Bulls. So if you tune in at this time tomorrow, you'll hear generic baseball sounds in the background, right? Just how can you not be romantic about baseball? The crack of the bat. Maybe the sprinklers wetting down the infield. Maybe somebody yelling, hot dogs are here. You'll just hear stuff in the background that'll say, baseball season is here. Hope springs eternal. It'll be fun, though. So if you're going out to the home opener for the Durham Bulls, we'll be there. Stop out and say hi. I'll be walking around with a exactly 5-year-old on his birthday after the show. So say happy birthday to him, and he'll really wonder how you all know him. My son will be there for the old birthday celebration. That is just a little update on what we're doing tomorrow. Next up, it is the starting five, and as always, we start with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
March Madness is the most wonderful time of the year.
That was perfect. That was a caller from earlier today. Shout out to him. There is
Reggie in Sanford.
He deserves a full name mention. Here's how it goes, everybody. The Final Four is set. No, we don't have anyone from the ACC in it. But Illinois, UConn, a 2 seed versus a 3 seed. Then on the opposite side, there's the old 1 seeds, Michigan and Arizona. It's a good Final Four. It's a good Final Four. It'll be well played. The teams have earned it. Do I wish there were different teams involved? Yes, but that's just a personal preference thing. You can't take anything away from these 2 squads, or these 4 squads, excuse me. Michigan and Arizona specifically have looked like wagons. They go on these streaks for like 10 minutes where you just take a close game and not anymore. Illinois and UConn have had to kind of beg, borrow, and steal their way a little bit. They've had to, be a little bit more crafty, but overall, it is a pretty good job done by this tournament to get teams that are deserving, teams that are worthy, and teams that are hopefully going to entertain us at the Final Four starting on Saturday. That is number 5. Let's go to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4 all together. Let's do that hockey.
This text we just got here, Dennis, is this reportable? I hope you're also on this.
Yeah, actually, my guess is that it is.
All right. Shout out to Paul Eihender for putting it on our
a little bit of.
There you go. Putting it on our desk here. The NBA, that's the National Basketball Association, okay, NBA, Board of Governors approves the sale of the Portland Trail Blazers to Tom Dundon and his investor group. The sale price $4.25 billion. That's with a B, as in boatloads of money. Tom Dundon, obviously, also the majority owner of the Carolina Hurricanes. It had been reportedly agreed upon and accepted of the offer from Tom Dundon and his investor group for some time now. But there is that period where, all right, your offer's accepted. Go get the funds. Go make it happen. And now it appears the NBA Board of Governors are approving of the financial details, and Tom Dundon will officially be a multi-professional sport majority owner, which, even if you run in circles of billionaires, is something to brag about, right? Even if your friends are all in possession of $100 million yachts, you get to be the big dog, the big man on campus, big man on yacht. If you walk in and say, hey, I got an NHL team and an NBA team. There's only a few that have more than that, right? Like Kroenke has a bunch. There's a few, but that's impressive by Tom Dundon. He had to sell, or had to. I don't know if he had to. He did sell a portion of the Carolina Hurricanes in order to make, what was it, like $340 million quick liquid cash, which I assume had something to do with this approval to pick up the Portland Trail Blazers, but they are Dundons. Now, I don't think, if we're being real, it impacts how things will be run with the Carolina Hurricanes all that much.
No, I don't think so either.
He's not, and I think this is a good thing, the most hands-on owner in the world. I think he's involved in the big decisions, but he's not, why isn't Kokiniemi in the lineup? Like, I don't think he's doing that sort of thing. So I wouldn't expect him to start now, and I wouldn't expect him to be extra distracted because he has to worry about the Portland Trail Blazers as well. I think he can be he can work them into his free time. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's I know Jason Quick of The Athletic has it reported the NBA Board of Governors has approved the sale of the Portland Trail Blazers to a group led by Dallas businessman Tom Donnelly, the league announced Monday. So there you go.
I mean, it's an incredible amount of money.
That is a big chunk of change.
Good for those people, because I don't have it.
Nope. Neither do I. Because if I did, wouldn't be here.
Oh, are you kidding me? I would be right here doing this. I just would be driving home in a nicer car to a nicer house. That is, but which, by the way, obviously he owns the Canes, so let's talk a little Canes. Over the weekend, they did get the win against New Jersey. Almost said Detroit, but it's the Devils, not Detroit. They got the win over New Jersey, 5-2. That one was a lot of good vibes, right? That one was just a lot of good vibes. So let's discuss that one more than we discussed the loss to Montreal yesterday, which was more frustration than anything. Jackson Blake scored his age. 22 goals for Jackson Blake or is he one away? No, that was 22, right?
That was
22. Yeah, 22. I don't know why I second-guessed myself there. Jackson Blake scored his age. Nikolai Ehlers in the power play stayed hot. Jordan Stahl is one away from 20.
I take that back. Actually, Blake is one away.
I thought so. I thought so. I second-guessed myself for a reason. I knew it all along. It is still a very good season for Jackson Blake, and he has plenty of games to go get his age in goals. Jordan Stahl, one away from 20. That was a nice little just reach out, get the deflection goal for him, too. But at 37 years old, he could grab his first 20-goal season since the 2015-16 season. Literal decade between 20-goal seasons. He has, he still has a chance to get 21, which would be his high water mark as a goal scorer as a Carolina Hurricane. Had a couple bigger seasons with Pittsburgh, but I mean that would be really cool for Jordan Stahl. Could be one of those real storybook seasons if it happens in the postseason the way we hope it does as well. And then they did lose, as a caller was very upset about earlier today, to Montreal, 3-1. I think the proximity of the two losses to Montreal. Two of their last three games have been to Montreal. Two of their last three games, you feel like you should say, I think they were dominating the game, and then all of a sudden it just went the other way, and that has frustrated some people. Dennis, anything we should take away tangibly from the last handful of games for the Canes?
I thought they played well. I thought overall they played well this weekend, but Montreal's a really darn good team. It's what it is.
It's tough to go, I hear why you're saying it, and then also, like, I hear why somebody saying this would be frustrating to you, and then we say it, but that's kind of how we're doing today's show. Maybe it'll be better if you hear it from someone else. Adam Gold, the Adam Gold Show here on 99.9 The Fan, with 2 minutes of gold about that loss to Montreal.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I've got 2 minutes for 2 points that Carolina did not get in a game they probably should. And it's all brought to us by Parkway Sleep Health Centers, parkwaysleep.com. As I am watching Carolina pepper Montreal's goaltender Jakub Dobiš with shot after shot, high danger chance after high danger chance, all I could think of was an episode of Seinfeld.
Look, Jerry, I'm sorry. You have insurance, right, buddy? No. How can you not have insurance?
Because I spent my money on the Klapko D29. It's the most impenetrable lock on the market today. It has only one design flaw. The door must be closed!
Look, you can get all the chances you want, and there were plenty. Jarvis, Blake, Hall, Stahl, Stankoven. Everybody had chances. Aho and Svechnikov each hit the crossbar in the third period. You know how you win a hockey game? When you score. One goal ain't enough. It never will be. Not in a big game against a great team. Carolina played great, but you gotta score. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep, sound health, sound off. Where's my marble rye?
Thank you very much to Adam Gold and Rusty as well behind the scenes, putting all that together with the production. 2 minutes of gold here on 99.9 The Fan. That's number 4 in the starting 5. It's now time for number 3.
What?
Was that Stephen A. Smith saying that Kenny Smith should be the
Oh, yeah.
Stephen A. Smith has been championing Kenny Smith as the potential next head coach for the Carolina Tar Heels, which I guess is still on the table because they have not filled the role.
They have not.
As of yet. Most of the predictions markets and the sports books and everything have it down to a 2-man race for Carolina. Tommy Lloyd, who is currently getting ready to coach the Arizona number 1 seeded squad in the Final Four, and Billy Donovan, who's the coach of the Chicago Bulls. I imagine you're waiting for Tommy Lloyd. That's why this hasn't happened, right? Because the Bulls season doesn't end until, mid-April, and you're not waiting that long for Billy Donovan, so it would have to be before the end of the season if he's your guy. Tommy Lloyd, though, you could wait just another week. Obviously, you're not going to take a guy from a team that's playing for a national championship and expect him to go to your team ahead of time unless you're LSU taking Lane Kiffin, but that's a different sport. Tommy Lloyd and Billy Donovan have, I would say, 2 things in common. They would be big, splashy, good hires because they're good coaches, and they'd be expensive. Those are the 2 things that you're going with. So I think it would be a statement in 2 directions for Carolina to bring in either of them. One statement is, we got cash, right? They'd be ponying up some dough because you'd also still have to fund support staffs, front offices, NIL, rev share, everything else. You'd have to make almost a Bill Belichick level commitment in cash to support them. But also it would be a, I would say, logical and expected announcement that they are one of the premier jobs in the country. Taking a coach from Arizona would be a flex. Taking an active coach from the NBA whose team doesn't appear to want to fire them would be a flex. That is, big chip stacks takes little chip stacks money. Like, that is just where we walk into a room and decide what we want style moves, which I think Carolina wants. I think they want to do that. They want to send the message, yeah, we're a blue blood. Yeah, maybe not as of late doing everything we want to do, but we're still Carolina and we're still here. And then you got to champion that, right? You got to turn that buzz, turn that statement into recruiting, into fundraising, into merch sales, into good business, into everything else. And somehow get Michael Jordan involved. He's in a good mood. His NASCAR team keeps winning. Like, call him up. Tell him the ceiling is the roof, whatever it takes. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. And continue to follow along on all our social medias, 99.9 The Fan. You can find us pretty much everywhere. Breaking news. We do our best to keep you as updated with as many different angles on all the breaking news possible. So when Carolina's coach is eventually announced, we'll be on top of it. Dennis and I will also be in Indianapolis for the Final Four later this week.
Yeah, Thursday and Friday. We'll be there.
So we'll be on Radio Row. Coaches will be kicking around. You can be sure that we will be asking about the Carolina job opening and what are you hearing? Is that job still what everybody thinks it is? Those conversations will be had because as much as I'm, stoked about Illinois UConn, I'm going to want to talk ACC regardless of what's going on. So, you know what I mean? It's going to happen. That is number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the 2 of us.
Wolf Pack.
Justin Gainey, the next head men's basketball coach, according to multiple reports, for NC State men's basketball.
By the way, they have their press conference is on Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Boo Corrigan will be there as well. The chancellor of the university, Kevin Howell, will also be there, and the new men's basketball coach, according to the release.
My take is this, without saying like good hire, bad hire, this is a hard correction from Will Wade. Like it is, I bought a plain white outfit and it looked awful on me, so I went multicolored neon polka dots, right? I guess I'm somebody that looks better with patterns. Like it is a, I used to date somebody who was super career oriented and I didn't like that they didn't have enough time for me. So I'm now exclusively looking for unemployed. Like you are just going to the exact opposite, right? You hired Will Wade. He had no connection to NC State. He previous head coaching experience. I don't even know if he had like set foot in Raleigh before you hired him. And it blew up in your face, right? He was a head coach, so he brought some of that head coaching vibe, but he was way too comfortable messing you over. He was way too comfortable betraying you because he didn't care. Who are you? I don't know you.
He also had no problem talking crap about them today.
Yes, it was very obvious from about a week ago that Will Wade did not care if every single time he walked into the state of North Carolina for the rest of his life he was booed.
Should we play the soundbite?
If you have,
I've
go
got
ahead,
it.
Set it up and play it.
Oh yeah, so here's Will Wade at his introductory presser today. Let's just say talking about NC State.
I think some of the things have been mischaracterized on how I left, but I'm not going to get into I don't want to get it. I learned long ago. I'm not going to get into a back and forth on all of that. The people who need to know. And look, everybody has to. When there's a situation like this, everybody has to cover has to cover. Let's put it that way. And so I'm not. I'm at peace with how I left. I'm at peace with what we did. And look, I mean, they're pretty mad for a coach they didn't think was very good. So, I don't.
Do you know what that? First of all, Will Wade has frustrated me 75 million different ways. I've ranted, I've raved. Today I actually did my best to say, like, listen, they're introducing him at LSU. There's going to be so many promises and quotes that we could nitpick, we could laugh at, we could tell our straight lies. Like, there's so much. But I felt it was almost time to move on, right? I felt like it was almost like, hey, don't forget, right? Don't forget what happened. And when you have the opportunity for revenge, right? You start looking at a bracket or something in a couple of years and you realize Will Wade's on the other side and you get a chance to eliminate him. Like, don't forget and hunt your revenge when available. But it's time to move on, right? You know Justin Gainey's your guy. Focus on the future. Focus on you. And then you hear a quote like that. Do you know what is... Gosh, it grinds my gears like no one's business. I hate when you're in an argument with somebody, anybody, and I don't care if it's a trivial debate, and they say like, listen, let's agree to disagree. I don't want to go back and forth on this. And then they land like two more punches. I'm like, no, you don't get to say, let's move on. I don't want to do this. And then bink, bink, and get the last word. If you're saying agree to disagree, you're saying I'm done here. So when he's like, listen, I learned long ago not to get into a back and forth. And then he's like telling jokes and talking Boo Corrigan and what. It's like, no, you don't get to do that. You don't get to say, listen, we're done with this. We're done with this, but you're wrong. I'm right. And you're kind of weird. It's like, what, you expect me to then end it on that? No, you're not getting the last word. Like, you're in a back and forth. You're either above a back and forth or you're in it. You're either above the fray or you're living in it. And he lives in it. Gosh, that's frustrating. Justin Gainey, not that case, right? Tennessee's head coach, where he was the assistant, was singing his praises, saying he should get the NC State job. If NC State knew what I knew, they'd be running, begging to get him to take the job. A little different than how Will Wade left his previous employers, huh? Here's Rick Barnes, the head coach of Tennessee, earlier this week.
Well, I hope he gets that job because I don't think there's anyone in the country that loves NC State more than Justin Gainey. He's a North Carolina native. He went to NC State, played 4 years there, started 4 years, helped him win an ACC tournament. He has just incredible pride in his university, and a terrific basketball coach. I mean, he highly. I mean, if you come to our walkthroughs like today or the other day, he scouted the last game. I don't say a whole lot because those guys have it, but Justin is. He's got an incredible feel for the game. He really understands players. He works at it. Terrific recruiter. Understands the NIL era today. If NC State knew what I knew, they would be begging him to be their next head coach.
A little different, huh? Right. It is an exact, unbelievable, like a complete 180 from Will Wade. Somebody who cares about State, cares about how he's seen and viewed in this area, played there. Very, very different from Will Wade. That's number 2. How about number 1?
Go one! 72-70, Duke, 10 seconds to go.
Got to cut and run through the ball, and who better than this guy?
Get it into Boozer, back for Sarr, ahead, Boozer, that ball deflected and stolen by Mullins. Caravan, 2 seconds, Mullins tosses it up. Oh! It's good! With point 3, UConn goes in front.
Utterly impossible.
Not completely, utterly impossible because it happened. And I'm sure Duke fans had to rewind and watch it a few times just to know what happened. But it happened, and Duke's basketball season came to an end with a dramatic, heartbreaking loss to UConn in the Elite Eight. And while we can all acknowledge, and our logical brains can tell us, that when you squander a 19-point lead, when you have a double-digit lead, a good amount into the second half, and you lose the game, it's not any one play. It's not any one decision. It is a series of unfortunate events that leads to that loss. While we can all acknowledge that, we also can say, well, if you just executed on that one play in the last 10 seconds, just held on to it, just made free throws, just executed a bit better, just got it into a non-freshman's hands, just did one more thing, you would have won the game, regardless of all of those series of unfortunate events that put you into that place. Jon Scheyer, the head coach of Duke, is likely still, when he closes his eyes, when he blinks, seeing replays of that particular play, and he was asked for his perspective on the final play, starting with the made free throw by UConn and ending with the game winner with 0.4 seconds left for UConn. Here's Jon Scheyer.
Well, yeah, we just have to secure it, right? I mean, we got it. They had a foul. I was ready for a timeout. And we just got to hold on. And, it's easy to look at that play. I look at every play that happened, especially in that second half. This is not about one play. It's about every play to put us in that position. And that's what you don't want to do. Where one play, something can happen. And so for me, look, it's going to be tough, but it's not going to be on one play.
That one play is tough. It's a lot of shoulda, woulda, couldas that are going to be maybe fairly or unfairly discussed for a very long time.
So Duke had the lead 62-51 with 7:59 to play. After that point, again, 11-point lead, 8 minutes to go. Duke made 3 field goals, one of them being a three-pointer. They made 3 out of 4 free throws. They also had 4 turnovers. Those 4 turnovers led to 11 UConn points. 1 layup, 3 three-pointers, including the game winner. Duke gave UConn every chance, and UConn capitalized. 4 turnovers. You have more turnovers in the last 8 minutes than you actually had field goals.
Yikes.
And it led to 11 points. They scored on every single one of those 4 turnovers. UConn did. That is why you lost.
Each one of those, when you lose that on that, the hair on your chinny chin, any of those.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You get one more deflection. You make one more bucket. You get fouled one more time. You win the game. And that's why it's so heartbreaking to look at in retrospect. And it's why Caden Boozer is going to sit there and replay that turnover over and over again. But guess what? It won't be as publicized and talked about, but I guarantee you Dame Sarr has a missed jumper that's going to replay in his brain over and over and over again. And Cameron Boozer has, why didn't I hold on to it on that play and just hold it and make the free throws, playing in his brain, and all of it on and on and on. Like, all of them have those plays.
Yeah, of those 4 turnovers, 2 by Caden Boozer, 1 by Cam Boozer, 1 by Isaiah Evans.
And then all of those sprout more, right? Because if Caleb Foster was out there, or Dame Sarr, whoever, Isaiah Evans, he's going, why was I letting Caden have so much on his shoulders? Why didn't I come get the ball? Why, all of it just builds into more. When in actuality, I mean, first of all, UConn is a winning program right now, right? Caravan, some of those guys, they have a lot of experience in very, very big games, and they were more comfortable. Duke was, and I don't think this is unfair to say, I think they're more talented, and the first half showed that. But when everybody's back muscles started tightening, UConn handled it much better, and they won the game. There's no replacement for experience in big games, and UConn showed it. As brutal as that is to say. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We do have some numbers game contestants that we'll have to grab, but first, here's Dennis Cox.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here real quick for my friends over at Law Tigers. Once again, shout out to everyone that entered in for the Canes bike giveaway, the custom Canes Ducati motorcycle that the Law Tigers teamed up with the Carolina Hurricanes to give one lucky Caniac a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle, courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. So thanks to everyone that signed up to enter that contest. Bike will be given away live on the ice this Saturday at the game. Pretty excited to see who not just walks away, but rides away with a custom Canes V4 Ducati motorcycle. So big shout out to Law Tigers. One thing I appreciate about Law Tigers is that Law Tigers attorneys, they are part of the motorcycle riding community. They know what your bike is worth, they know what your gear is worth, and they also understand the risks of being out there on the road. That's why you got to contact them if you're ever injured in a motorcycle accident, even before you contact the insurance companies. Let's be honest, insurance companies, they want to give you the least amount possible. Law Tigers, they are there to fight for you. So if you're injured in a motorcycle accident, contact them first, lawtigers.com or 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Let's grab those numbers game contestants. Call right now, 919-860-5326 for your chance to compete in the numbers game and win a pair of tickets to see Weezer at the Lenovo Center on October 4th. Do you know what's funny about us giving away Weezer tickets this week?
Because we gave away Wheezy tickets?
Yep. So Wheezy last week, Weezer this week. Just a little difference, but a big difference. Call right now, 919-860-5326 for your chance to win the Weezer tickets by playing the numbers game. 919-860-5326. We need 2 contestants. Numbers game next.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Everything that you can say about Aaron Judge, you can also in a lot of ways apply it to Bryce Harper, and you can absolutely apply it to Mike Trout. You have these guys who you think are going to be the one that is going to be the superstar that wins and wins consistently. And all of these guys haven't done it. All of those guys go into the what if category, and I think that's been detrimental to the game.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hi, Greg Talbot with Strategic Tax Resolution. Tax enforcement and defense strategies have changed a lot over the last year. After nearly 5 years, the IRS has restarted automated collections. You could be next for bank levies and wage garnishments. Ignoring the issue is not an option. Call 984-272-2600 to get protected. Do you have unfiled returns or tax debt? We work directly with the IRS and states so you don't have to. Let us use our proven strategies and experience with the IRS and state to resolve your tax issue. Qualified clients have cut their tax debt by more than 90%. How would that feel? Act now to learn the latest updates to tax relief programs. Your eligibility may not be the same. Strategic Tax Resolution. Local, trusted, A+ rated by the BBB. Call 984-272-2600. Ask for me, Greg Talbot. 984-272-2600. You've got a guy on your side. StrategicTaxResolution.com. Get relief.
Is your heating and air system ready for the warmer weather? Call Newcomb & Company to ensure your system is running at peak performance. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs. Newcomb & Company, your Carrier factory authorized dealer, has proudly served our community for more than 70 years, delivering reliable comfort and peace of mind. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
When your check engine light comes on, do you see a repair bill or do you see peace of mind? For 20 years, CarShield's been the name America trusts to help keep you on the road. While other companies stop covering you when your car gets older, CarShield offers protection plans up to 200,000 miles. With over $1 billion in claims paid, we don't just promise protection, we deliver it. Don't let a breakdown break your budget. Get the flexible month-to-month coverage you deserve. Go to carshield.com. That's carshield.com today.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. We have Dave in Fuquay-Varina and Nick in Raleigh getting ready to compete in jersey number trivia for Weezer tickets when they come to the area. We'll bring each of them onto the show, each of our contestants, ask them the same question. Dennis will pick his favorite answer, and that person will get to go first. We'll start with Dave in Fuquay-Varina. Dave, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
There you are. Oh, sorry. My bad. I have the wrong names. Haven't quite updated my form yet here. So it's BJ in Fuquay-Varina and
John and Raleigh.
I apologize for that. I think I read our contestants from last week. So we'll start with BJ in Fuquay-Varina. BJ, are you there?
Yes, sir.
There we go. Just starting the whole thing over. The question, as it often is on Mondays, is we just finished a weekend. What was the highlight of your weekend? But because we're a sports show, keep it sports related.
The highlight of my weekend, we had a baseball game at Cleveland High School on Saturday.
All right. High school baseball. Dennis, any follow-ups?
Did you win?
Man, we got shut out.
All right, that's fine. Hey, you owned it.
Hey, I like that you didn't say it at first, but you were willing to when asked. Like, I mean, if I could have avoided saying that on the radio, I would have. But if you're going to ask, I'm comfortable with it. All right, BJ, you are locked in with baseball out there at Cleveland High School, even though it was a shutout. John and Raleigh, you're up next. John, can you hear me?
Yes, again.
All right, same question to you. We just finished up a weekend with it being Monday. What was the highlight of your weekend? But because we're a sports show, make sure you keep it sports related.
I'm an NC State fan, so the Duke loss, and then to kind of trickle it over today, the Justin Gainey hiring, pretty pumped.
All right, Duke loss into the Gainey hire. Dennis, your possible choices are high school baseball, Cleveland High School, even though they got shut out, still a highlight. And John, the NC State fan, says the Duke loss, and then he parlayed it into the Justin Gainey news today.
These are actually both pretty solid. I appreciate and respect the fact that BJ owned the fact that they got shut out. Hey, you know what? But hey, beautiful weekend for baseball.
And very, very any day fishing is better than a day in the office.
That's true.
Like my highlight was baseball. Even though we lost, it's still better than anything else I did. I like the vibes.
But I respect and appreciate pettiness to a very high degree, so I will go with John on this one.
All right, there you go. John gets to go first. BJ, don't worry, you'll have your chance. Just have to sit on hold for a second. John, are you ready to pick a category?
I am.
All right, the categories are NFL, Panthers throughout history, NFL players with alliterative names, meaning first and last names start with the same letter, NBA players from the Northwest Division, or NHL Hurricanes throughout history.
Can I do Panthers throughout history?
You absolutely can. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. I will say the team on this category, even though we know it, just to keep it fair timing-wise with the other categories. Any questions before we get started?
No, I'm good.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Xavier Legette, Carolina Panthers.
17.
Correct. Matt Moore, Carolina Panthers.
3.
Correct. Willie Green, Carolina Panthers.
32.
Incorrect. Jeremy Chin, Carolina Panthers.
21.
Correct. Captain Munnerlyn, Carolina Panthers.
41.
Correct. Willie Green, Carolina Panthers.
56.
Incorrect. Willie Green, Carolina Panthers.
72.
Incorrect. Willie Green, Carolina Panthers.
98.
Incorrect. Willie Green, Carolina Panthers.
94.
You want to take one more dart throw just to see if you would have been close?
92.
And, well, you were getting closer. 86 is the number we were looking for Willie Green. But 4 out of 5 is a very solid number. 4 out of 5 is the lead in the clubhouse. Stay on the line, and we'll see if it holds up.
Sounds great.
All right. That brings us to BJ. BJ, are you there?
Yep.
All right. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players with alliterative names. First and last name start with the same letter. NBA players from the Northwest Division, or NHL Hurricanes only.
Let me get the NFL one.
All right. NFL players whose first and last name start with the same letter. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds will be on the clock. You'll have one pass if you need it. You do need all 5 for the win, but you have the entire clock to do so. And do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Josh Jacobs, Green Bay Packers.
28.
Incorrect. Thurman Thomas, Miami Dolphins.
31.
Incorrect. Josh Jacobs, Green Bay Packers.
8.
Correct. Evan Ingram, Denver Broncos.
88.
Incorrect. Thurman Thomas, Miami Dolphins.
Pass.
James Jett, Los Angeles Raiders.
83.
Incorrect. Evan Ingram, Denver Broncos.
14.
Incorrect. Thurman Thomas, Miami Dolphins.
23.
Incorrect. You did get one. You got Josh Jacobs to avoid the shutout. Unfortunately, not enough for the win, though, but hopefully you had some fun.
Yeah, I had fun.
All right. Appreciate it, and you can always try again. For those of you playing at home, Thurman Thomas on the Dolphins. I mean, I'm a pretty big football fan. I go straight to the Bills.
Yeah, of course.
34, what we were looking for.
All right, that's what he wore in Buffalo, I think,
yeah,
too.
so I would have stumbled into it, but I definitely would not imagine the Dolphins jersey. Evan Ingram with the Broncos, number 1. James Jett with the Raiders, 82. That's what we were looking for. But again, not enough for the win there, which means John is the winner. John, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
You get to see Weezer. So those tickets are coming your way. As a State fan, give us your one-sentence review and why you're excited about Justin Gainey.
I think it's the right choice. Right choice.
All right. One sentence. There you go. Go ahead and stay on the line, and Dennis will grab the info he needs. John said, I just went 4 out of 5. I'm not giving you explanation. He's the right choice. Gave me like Waterboy vibes. And a prediction is what it's going to be. Vicky Valancourt. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. By the way, everybody, I've said this a few times, but just in case you're unaware, the numbers game the only time we have it for the rest of this week is Wednesday, because tomorrow we will be at Durham Bulls Athletic Park for the home opener for the Durham Bulls. And when we're on remote, we tend to not do the numbers game when we're outside the studio, just because the connection becomes too much of an issue, and I end up saying, what was that? Say it again, or there's a delay. Our technical squad here is awesome, but it makes it more work and a little bit more difficult, and we want it to be a fair game. So tomorrow we'll be at Durham Bulls Athletic Park, so we will not have the numbers game. Wednesday, back here in studio, we will have the numbers game, and you can win those Weezer tickets. Thursday and Friday, Dennis and I will be in Indianapolis for the Radio Row at the Final Four. So we will not be doing it from Indianapolis. Hopefully we'll be bringing you a whole bunch of really cool interviews and insight into coaching searches, into the changing of college basketball, and everything else that we can drum up out there in Indianapolis. So if you want the Weezer tickets, got to get here on Wednesday. Got to be ready to call in at about 5:30. We may work some other ways to win those tickets in, but I can pretty much guarantee you Friday at 5:30, if you win the numbers game, you can get the Weezer tickets. So I just want to make sure everybody's aware, everybody's on the up and up. With that being said, one of those coaching searches that we'll likely be talking about quite a bit in Indianapolis, whether they make the hire or they're still looking, is the Carolina Tar Heels. They're still looking for a coach. What are they waiting for? Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
For teams who missed the tournament or took early losses, the time to reflect ended the morning after. The business of player retention is now key for your program, and the playing field is more level than it ever was as revenue shares in place. Your coach's pitch now focuses on when do we get our next championship, because that's the only currency your fan base cares about.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8157. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-8157. That's 800-575-8157. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com. And get ready for the workday.
All right, Coach, make that sound for me that you do.
Oh, yeah.
Make that
Here we
sound.
go. The financial fill-up.
But what is the famous financial fill-up strategy?
When we get to retirement, we've got these accounts, but they all have a balance and a value, but we don't know how much we should take out because we don't want to run out of money in retirement. So we do the dirty work for you. We put together a spending plan that'll make sure you always have income for the rest of your life and the rest of your spouse's life if you pass away before they do, and it will never go away. Even if the balance in your accounts goes to zero, you still get the income every single month.
That sounds good to me. Where do I sign
up? It's called a financial fill-up strategy, and we developed this years ago. I'm a retirement income certified professional from the American College. I am trained to make sure you have lifetime income. So if you want to if you need surgery, you go to the specialist. I'm the specialist in income. So call now. Everyone listening needs an income plan. For the next 10 of you, we're going to do it at no cost or obligation. Call right now and get your very own financial fill-up strategy.
919-794-7900. 919-794-7900.
Amanda Daughtry is a paid spokesperson. Investment advisory services offered by Capital Financial Advisory Group, a North Carolina registered investment advisor.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. So Carolina's still looking for a head basketball coach. One of the super-duper premier, top shelf, whatever you want to call them, jobs in college basketball is open. That's gonna demand some eyeballs and some conversation. Carolina's still looking for a coach, and if they're like, I don't want to act like I'm some kind of expert here, because I actually have not gone through the hiring process a ton in my career. Although the few times I have, I'll admit, wildly overwhelming, and I can't imagine what it's like to hire the head coach at Carolina. Right, the amount of pressure, the amount of fronts everybody is putting up for you. Like when you interview someone to be the head coach at Carolina, you're not seeing the real them. You're seeing the absolute most buttoned up, I prepared for this, I'm ready to dazzle you and razzle-dazzle your socks off version, right? And you have to try to get to the nitty-gritty of who someone is. The two names that they seem to be circling the most, and Dennis, if I'm feeling the vibe wrong, correct me, but it seems to be Tommy Lloyd and Billy Donovan.
Yep.
Head coach Arizona, head coach Chicago Bulls. From the jump, right? They fired Hubert Davis. From the moment we knew that, there were, 1,000 lists on who Carolina could look for next. And most of those lists had somewhere between like 5 and 15 names. And on all of those lists, especially once Brad Stevens withdrew his name, on darn near all of those lists, the two splashiest, right, because Jay Wright was on there a bunch too, like the two splashiest realistic hires were Tommy Lloyd and Billy Donovan, right? The two most, if Carolina wants to announce that they're in it for the big money and they want to make a splash, realistically, the two biggest names were Tommy Lloyd and Billy Donovan. You can pick the order, right? Taking somebody away from a number 1 seed like Arizona or taking someone away from an NBA head coaching job like Billy Donovan are splashy. I just want this on the record. Do you know how long it matters if you win the PR battle after a hire? It matters right up until you play a game. Right up until the first result is how long it matters. Then the only thing that matters is if you're winning or not. And honestly, if you hire somebody that isn't quote unquote splashy or universally approved by the fan base and they win, you're going to have a lot of people lying. You're going to have a lot of people saying, I knew it from the moment they hired him that he was great, and they're going to be deleting old tweets about how they didn't like the hire, and that's how it works. So I wouldn't worry about winning the universal approval of the announcement. I wouldn't worry unless you think it's tied to money, because money does make the world go round in college sports right now. So if you think if you hire somebody like all of your donors are going to run dry and all of a sudden they're going to be, I don't know where my wallet is, then you don't hire that person, right? And if you think hiring Tommy Lloyd adds to like millions and millions and millions of more from your boosters, then yeah, you do have to consider that and take that into account in your hiring process. But just be aware, like the vibe at the press conference, I'm going to use one of my dad's sayings. My dad used to say this about haircuts. He's like, do you know what the difference is between a good haircut and a bad haircut? About 2 weeks, right? Because then it grows out and it all kind of, you can do it again if you want, or it looks fine grown out. Sometimes a great haircut looks goofy in a couple of weeks because it, grows out in a different way. The difference between a good haircut and a bad haircut is about 2 weeks. Do you know what the difference is between a great hire and a bad hire at head coach, according to all of the people like us, the people that talk for a living and the fans? Till games start, right? Because as soon as the games start, if you're winning or losing is all anyone cares about. You could hire some nobody off the sidelines of Division III. If they show up and they win games and you win an ACC championship and you're top 4 seed next year, nobody is going to remember that they were booed at the press conference. Do you know what it actually is very similar to? Draft day in the NFL, right? Remember when Jets fans just booed everybody? They're like, no matter who, because it was always in New York. Now they move it around.
Yeah.
Jets fans just booed no matter who it was. And some of them turned out to be like the best players in Jets history. And it was just like, yeah, it turns out being booed on draft day didn't really matter because once they got on the field, they were DeBrickashaw Ferguson or whoever it ended up being, right? Or that Philly used to just scream, but then it ended up being Donovan McNabb. And they took him to a bunch of conference championship games. If you are hiring Tommy Lloyd or Billy Donovan because in your heart of hearts and in your decision-maker round circles or round tables, you think they are the best coach with the best chance of winning and the best chance of galvanizing your fan base and the best chance of being a leader of your team, you hire them. If you're hiring one of them because you think there's no way anybody can get mad at me for hiring them, that's the wrong reason. Okay, so just make sure the hiring is happening for the right reasons. If you think the best hire possible is a mid-major head coach and you think, you talk to them as a favor, yeah, we'll interview them, throw them on Zoom, and they really dazzled you and you left and you couldn't stop thinking about them, if you think they're the best coach, eat those arrows on announcement day. You know what I mean? Turn off social media and sleep soundly knowing you did what's best for your program. And then there's some other news coming out of Carolina. Brian Murphy, WRAL investigative reporter, had it first. But there's been an incredible amount of debate on what Carolina should do with the Dean Dome. Should they relocate? Should they renovate? Should they build a new one here? Should they build a new one there? Will it be on campus, off campus? How much money would they need to do this plan? How much money would they need to do that plan? How much money would they bring in yearly with a new arena and everything else that came with it? And it's gotten heated, right? I think what was it? Seth Trimble even said something in his senior speech, right, on senior day. He's walking off, which is kind of like, hey, don't relocate. It became like a real hot button issue. The Dean Dome discussions have been put on pause by Carolina, which can be seen a few different ways. Some think it's like any money that was going to go towards that needs to go towards the roster and the coach and potential buyouts and whatever they need to get the program back up and running the way that Carolina should be back up and running. The other is, and I'll actually just read a tweet from Brian Murphy. Brian Murphy, WRAL, said this: think the pause in arena discussions is less about saving money and more about not having the new coach walk right into a divisive, contentious debate. Let him get his feet wet before he has to have an opinion on that. I agree with Brian. One of the things you'll hear me say, and it pops up ever so often, because luckily the teams we cover don't change leadership a ton. But if like a new owner buys a team, a new GM comes, a new head coach comes, whatever it is, depending on the level, I always say do 3 things that are universally approved, right? In like fans' eyes, get up 3-0, okay? And the 3 examples I always use are very cheesy, and they had to do with when the Washington Commanders were sold by Dan Snyder, who everyone hated, to the new group. The first thing they did was like put excellent Wi-Fi in at the stadium, right? Because there's no way that like everyone is going to go, great idea. The next thing they did was hold some event with a bunch of former players, get all the legends back around and post pictures on social media. Every fan's like, love it. You know, get Art Monk back around or whoever it was. And then the third one, I believe, was improvements to the stadium. Like they had like, you know, seats and everything that needed to be improved. And I'm like, boom, they're up 3-0. They're up 3-0 in fans' eyes right now. Now if they show up and have to like cut a beloved player in a cat move, or they lose their first 3 games, it's like, all right, 3-1. We're still ahead, right? You want to give yourself leeway. What you don't want to do is have your coach show up and immediately put them in a 0-1 hole, right? You don't want fans already disliking something they said. So you don't want it, like the questions at the opening presser, you want them to be as easy as softball, as soft toss as they can possibly be. Right? Is this your dream job? You darn right it is. How do you feel about transfers? Well, the first couple years we might have to have a few more, but what I want to do is recruit and develop and supplement out of the transfer portal. Next. What is success to you? I just want to get 1% better every day and build a program that you all can be proud of and represent the state of North Carolina. Next, should the Dean Dome be renovated or moved? Woo. Then the PR person, the sports information director, has to jump in and actually we're gonna end this here, and we're excited about Carolina basketball. And all of a sudden, fans are like, he didn't take the stand I wanted him to take. Down 0-1. You want universally approved things. You do not want to put them in that situation. I think Carolina is smart to put it on pause. Once you get a couple months away from like a media availability, right? You get in the off season and you're like, he'll talk again on signing day, and signing day isn't for a couple months. Then you can bring it back up if you want. You can wait till after this next year if you want. But I think it's smart to, if you're going to be launching a coach on a new boat, you want him to have as smooth waters as possible. You know what I mean? And they're going to be doing that. Although they might be not doing it for a while. I guess Tommy Lloyd probably has to finish out his run with Arizona, which is at least to the Final Four, maybe to the national championship. And if he wins, maybe after a parade, and if he wins, I'd find it very difficult to believe he'd leave, but maybe. If it's Billy Donovan, I asked on Twitter some questions about it, and some fans, some listeners told me that Billy Donovan has voiced that he'd like to wait until after the NBA season to make any kind of decisions on his future.
Yeah, I don't think you can wait that long if you're Carolina.
I think it's April 12th. That's I mean, another 2 weeks. That's a long time.
Especially the portal opens up, what, on the 7th?
I'm a big Billy Donovan fan. I still have questions about his ability to adjust to the modern college world, different than the one he left. Definitely would have questions if you're starting well after the portal. But if they're waiting for one of those two guys, could be waiting a while. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We do have Overdrive coming up next, and Overdrive will start with a look at Duke's loss last night. Heartbreaker for the Blue Devils. Carolina State fans probably rejoiced. UConn gets the win. They go to the Final Four. And then later on in Overdrive, we'll look at State's new coach. We have been told it'll be Justin Gainey, former player for State, former assistant, or staffer, I should say, for State as well, getting his chance to run his old program. It is a fascinating time in the college basketball calendar, and we're happy to be a part of your conversation. We'll be back tomorrow at Durham Bulls Athletic Park for the home opener. We'll see you then, everybody.
Listen for the Did He Just Do That?
Cameron Boozer. Put it off the window! Count it in a foul!
Listen for the Get That Out of Here's.
Kongba blocked it. What a rejection.